It's too early, but that's okay. My gym workout was phenomenal. Before I went home, I decided to stop over at my mother's house. I haven't seen my mother in 2 months. I know she's going to be very surprised to see me. I can't wait. What the? I couldn't believe what I was seeing. The first thing I noticed was this person's skin. What is going on? Uncomplicated, untreated skin? Who is this guy? I had to take a step back, but then I realized it was my brother. But look at his skin. Have you guys ever seen anything like that? I had to take a closer look and figure out what was going on. Best believe I crept up on him. Peep this. I'm still looking at his skin, trying to figure out how did we get here. I could do nothing but shake my head. He could definitely use my help. I had to get to the bottom of this. He definitely needed some game about his skin. I'm just staring at it, like looking at it. Come on, bro. I knew what to do. I had to reach in my bag and get that Tej Hanley. Uncomplicated skincare for men. Bro, this is why I'm excited to have Tej Hanley as a sponsor of today's video. They have helped me start and maintain my skincare routine by making the entire process uncomplicated. Honestly, it's the best skincare system for guys like you and me. I recommend you start with their level 1 system, which comes with all the basics. A daily face wash to get rid of the dirt and the grime on your skin, a 2 times per week exfoliating scrub to get rid of the dead skin cells, an AM moisturizer with SPF 20 because you should always be protecting your skin from the sun, and a PM moisturizer to help your skin stay hydrated and healthy throughout the night. My brother was so excited. My favorite part about Tej Hanley is that every box comes with an instruction card that tells you when to use each product, how much to use, and in what order. They really make the process of achieving and maintaining amazing skin easy. Shout out to Tej Hanley. And because Tej Hanley is sponsoring today's video, they're offering my viewers a great deal. Just click the first link in the description, and not only will you get Tej Hanley for the best possible price, but they'll also give you a free gift with your first box. Click that link and get started today for just $30. Feel the Tej. Let the Tej force be with you. Let's just have a conversation. How y'all doing, family? It's go time. So let's take time. Welcome to Lapeef. Let's talk. Let me go ahead and introduce the crew. We got Sweeney, the Real Precious, Lady Di, Fred Smooth, Casey, Ali, Paradise Paris, Clout Jones. We also got Lady that be coming in a second. Me, myself, Lapeef JR. Welcome to Lapeef. Let's talk. What's going on, family? What's going on? How y'all doing?
It's good to be here, everybody.
How y'all doing?
Doing well. Hey, y'all.
What's up?
We got Juvenile in the house. What's going on, Juvie? Nah.
She got her hands up on her knees and her elbows on her thighs.
Nah, the other one. What's
Yin Yang
the
twins. That's Yin Yang twins.
Yeah, that's wrong right there, Sweeney.
You gotta do back
there, huh? You want to huh?
You working with some man shit? You bad yet?
Working with man, you bad.
All right, man. It's good to see y'all, man. Welcome back to Thursday. Lapeef, let's talk. Hit the like button. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Shout out to the sponsor, Tej Hanley, Uncomplicated Skincare for Men. 30% off along with a free gift. Make sure you guys go ahead and click that link and get your Tej pack. They got all type of goodies, man. They're taking care of the men, so let's make sure we get our skincare in order. That's inside the water and outside the water. We got all type of flavors for you. So whatever you're looking for, they got it. You name it, they got it. Y'all ready to get this show started? Oh, well, shout out to my green gang. We got Doug Will. I haven't seen in a while. We got S. Chanel, Jordan Landry, on the AP accountability partner, Angela Swift, Mr. BX87. Cloud is already in the chat already. We see nothing I could do about that, but I will talk to HR about that because we're not supposed to have our phones on doing work. So hopefully we can get that together. I see Lady Dad's in the chat as well. It's going to be a long night. I see already, man. You guys are going to be interacting with the chat tonight. So if I see any heads down for a long period of time, just know when HR come knocking at that door, it's game time. All right, Team Fatty, what's up, brother? I see you as well. Oh, shout out to the new member. Sharon D. Berry became a new member before the show actually started. So shout out to you. Welcome to Green Gang. Team Fatty's already super chatting. That foreign currency, Ali. By May?
Boombaye.
Oh my
God.
Come on, Jay.
Boombaye. Come on, Jay.
Hey, I was born on a small island, not the big island.
You ain't watched Thriller in Manila on any of that? Or no, it was come on.
Nah, I didn't watch that.
Will Smith?
Nah, I didn't watch
Rumble in the Jungle.
I ain't nowhere in here you never seen that movie.
I haven't seen that movie, man. I didn't watch too many movies, man. I went to the movie theaters and I saw a few things my mother took me, but other than that,
Tomorrow.
Hey man, y'all keep on talking. HR is in the building, man. If I feel offended, all I gotta do is say I feel offended. And that's the cue. Fatty, I thought you was a member already. I guess he must have re-signed. So shout out to Team Fatty for signing his deal. I guess the contract was good, so he came on back. What else we got in there? I'm just trying to acknowledge as many people as I can. The chat was active before we started, man. I guess they ready for this show. Let me go ahead. Somebody running some bath water? What is that noise? Fountain?
That's the ambiance that Sweeney has before the show starts, like the.
No, it just muted. So I guess whoever just muted, man.
Must have been Clout. Was that Clout? He's meditating.
Yeah, I see.
It wasn't me. I was muted the whole time, man. It wasn't me.
He got a little. It's okay, man. He got a little bonsai tree over there. And stuff.
I see he got his feet sitting in some water, man. He over there getting Yeah. Okay. Let's go ahead and get it started, man. Again, hit that like button. Also, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Welcome to Lapeef Let's Talk. Our first topic of the night that we're going to go ahead and dive into is Halle Berry. Halle Berry finalized divorce from Oliver and will have to pay over $8,000 a month in child support for their son. So this news broke within the past couple days. And then we had Safari says a man getting child support is crazy. He might as well put on a dress. A man getting child support is crazy. He might as well put on a dress. I want to go ahead and discuss this. Let's open it up because the man doesn't typically get child support, but in this situation, he's getting $8,000 a month from Halle Berry. $8,000. It's a lot of money, right? A lot of money.
Not compared to what some dudes paying child support.
I ain't mad at it, man.
Okay. All right. We're gonna go ahead and start with Sweeney first, man, since he's already comparing, man.
God damn.
Yeah, that was the one that spoken. Go ahead.
What do you say to this? I mean, shit.
Like, how do you feel about it? You think it's fair?
I mean, shit, yeah.
Why is it fair?
You know what it is? Here's what people get wrong. When you share, because they share custody, 50-50 agreement. They got shared custody, right? Joint custody. They make the person that makes the most money pay child support. If you're down in Houston, you know that even if you have 50-50 custody, you see your child majority of the half the time, somebody still has to pay child support, and that typically goes to the person that makes the most money. So, I mean, Halle Berry marrying somebody that doesn't have as much money as her, doesn't make as much as her, she has to be the one that pays child support. And what kills me is that we sit here and act as if this is what happens to men every single day. You know what I mean? If you make the most money in a situation, you pay child support. That's her. And for Safari to say anything about child support is wild to me. Like, you shouldn't be saying jack fucking squat because your woman was just online complaining about how little child support you pay. So you need to be quiet, my brother, before old girl come out there and jack you for some more child
He
support money.
intentionally went to the court and told them he was broke, like he and his money, so that he did not have to pay a lot.
You know what that is? That's him being jealous that a guy that he has to pay child support and the guy got out of paying child support. That's what that was. That was an instantaneous reaction to him. He looked at his bank account, seen some money missing, was like, "Damn, I wish I was in Oliver's position right now." So he had to come out there and talk shit. But yeah, this is normal. It's just, you know what I mean? Now you're starting to see women marry guys that they out earn, and this is the consequence of that.
That's the consequence to that man. If that's the case, if he was so concerned about something like that, why did he marry someone that made more money than him? In a sense of that means you should stay with her or try to work it out, because that's what's going to end up happening. You got to make sure that you are kind of thinking the long way through instead of short-term thinking. You got to have like long-term goals, including when you get married, you have kids. You have to think about, okay, if this was to happen, what are the consequences? So
I think, shit, what is this? Her fourth marriage? So, man, shit, she been taking L's this long. Shit, she probably used to it at this point. She just get these white dudes babies and pay her child support and keep it moving. She like the female version of Future.
Who filed divorce?
I don't know. Oh, that gotta be the corniest thing to laugh at your own joke, but that shit tickled the hell out of me.
I'm not sure who fouled.
Nobody want to stay with Halle Berry, it seemed like.
Well, we haven't heard that in a while. It's been a while. I didn't know she was married. So when the news broke about her getting divorced, I said, who cares? But then when the AK a month came out, I said, I'm not surprised. Really not surprised. She was with an average Joe. Go ahead, Cloud. What are your thoughts about it, sir? Safari says a man getting child support is crazy. He might as well put on a dress.
I think Safari having an opinion like that is crazy, considering that it was well known that he was getting taken care of by Nicki Minaj for the inception of his career. Like, the only reason we know of him is because he was Nicki Minaj's assistant, bag boy, boyfriend, whatever we want to call him. So I feel like that's a kind of crazy, disrespectful position for you to have, being in that state. But as far as like the child support situation goes, I just feel like that's the consequence of feminism. That's the world we living in. It's an equality world. And listen, if it was the other way around, she would be entitled to child support. So now she's the breadwinner, and it just so happens that now the dad's not the breadwinner, and so he's entitled to child support. I think child support in general can be a little bit ridiculous. Like it can get kind of crazy, the kind of numbers that they give out. But I'm not against the guy getting a little child support, especially if he's putting in his time and effort to raise that child, and she's the breadwinner. Hey, let him get a little bag and help raise that kid. But I definitely don't think it should be just like I would feel for like a man. I hope that it's not some ridiculous amount that she can't afford. And 8,000, based off what I know of Halle Berry, doesn't sound crazy. When I definitely had situations where women are getting like $250K a month, from certain celebrities. So I feel like 8K, that's not too crazy. That's not hurting nobody.
Sound like Cloud over there pocket watching Halle Berry. Something about. Might not be hurting her pockets that much. So go ahead and give it up. Go ahead, Real Precious. What are your thoughts about it?
It's like Sweeney said, it just is what it is. She married someone where she would still have her celebrity status, or her, I don't know. I think a lot of celebrity women do date down, and then it doesn't work out and they're divorced, or they have to pay child support. And it's like Lady Di said, if you're not going to think about the long term, goal of it all, sometimes it just seems like they want to have the kid, and then after the kid turns like 7 or 8 or whatever, it's like, all right, let's part ways. But I mean, she makes most of the money. The child needs to be taken care of. I believe she has custody of the child on Monday through Wednesday, and then him the rest of the week. And so if that's what she has to pay, that's what she has to pay. The child's not in your care more than 50%. So She's the other parent. She has to pay.
Okay. Go ahead, Lady Di. What are your thoughts about it?
Well, I don't believe in child support. Child support is dumb. If you want to be able to support your child, then I believe in you split everything the child has to have. You split it in like 50-50. So let's say the child need school supplies. School supplies cost $500. You pay $250. If the kid needs to eat, right, you just split it up 50. You actually, when you go shopping, you shop for, I mean, you can't always do it, but you shop for the child, and then you split that bill in 50. You send, an invoice saying, hey, this is what was spent. This is what you got to pay in 50. When it comes to rent, treat it like, okay, well, your child is room and board. This room costs $350. This is what you're gonna spend. Like in that way. I think child support is like a scam. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's better to have a mutual agreement with a lawyer. I think a lawyer should be in place. You get that document notarized, okay, and you say, hey, we can't change this until something crazy circumstances happen. I don't think it should be the judge is telling you how much you should pay. I think it should just be something that is mature. The child has to go to school. If you want the child to go to private school, but you're going to pay half of this. If you can't pay half, I don't think there should be a consequence. It is what it is because it's still a choice of the parent. I'm not saying when we choose someone, it's always our fault because I always say you choose wrong. But sometimes people do act up. You may think you're choosing right, and then they start acting up. Being different. They're kind of like being a way to you in the beginning, and then they change later. So we can't always prevent things. But at the same time, it's still a consequence. You had a child with somebody, you're not together. It is what it is. If they don't pay, they don't pay. At the end of the day, that person who doesn't pay has to deal with the consequence later on their own. It's called karma. It's called they're going to get it back somehow, one way or another. It's going to affect the child. The child should grow up and learn maturity, get mature early. And eventually they'll learn that, let's say if their parent isn't doing anything, they'll learn the parent isn't doing something, and then they'll make their judgment on what they want to do with their parent. At the end of the day, they're obligated to still want to have contact with someone that is not financially responsible. Because at the end of the day, it's still their child. You can't take that from somebody. And to me, it's up to the child on what relationship they want to have. So I don't like child support. She's paying $8,000 for a man that could take care of himself and take care of his kid. I think it's ridiculous.
Okay, so you said child support is a scam.
Yes.
And why is it a scam again?
It's like if you're a parent, you have a child with somebody, you guys should be able to talk it out and figure out what the child needs, not have a judge say you need to take this amount of percent out of your check every month. I don't think that's fair to life. I think that it should just be a mutual agreement between both parties. And it needs to be something that people could afford. Not everybody could afford to pay all of this extra money. It just needs to be what the child needs, not what someone else think they need. They're not living with us. We could be in a nice house today. Next year we go to a 1-bedroom apartment. Like that means that the judge is always in our business. That it don't need to be like that. It just needs to be something that you talk about with the parent on a consistent, however many times you need to talk about it with.
So then what if the parent refuses to pay?
Then that's your ass.
They have to deal with karma, so it just kind of falls back on them, saying they shouldn't have chose that person.
Well, I mean, you could say that. It is what it is. There's nothing you could do about that. People are not going to change. There's people who are supposed to pay child support and they're not. So it's kind of like, what about them? Everybody don't go to jail because they don't pay child support. They just don't pay. You got to take them to court. Court is expensive. You got to pay retainer fees. That's expensive. So to always be in court for 18 years, I think is a scam. It's wasting money. You could put all that money you put on a retainer fee to your child.
You know what I think they should do? They take a percentage of each person's check and put that shit in the fund to use on the kid. That's all you got to do. Or we can do it this way. Y'all go. I always tell people the easiest way to alleviate to alleviate costs is to share custody. The more time you send a kid over there, the less money you have to spend at your house. That means his bills is being his electricity being used, his internet being used. He has to go and buy the kids clothes. If you want to alleviate cost, send a child with their father. And I know a lot of people say in some scenarios, 50-50 custody is not actually a thing. Yeah, when distance is a factor. Most of y'all live in the same goddamn city as your baby daddy. You can take the kid over there. Because your grandmama live on the other side of town. You ain't got no problem taking them over to grandma's house all day, every day. So you can take them over to their father's house and let him spend half the week with his kid and let him drop the kid off to school for 5 days, and then y'all flip and y'all switch and do whatever. Or, you know what I mean? You can just both put money in a pot. I prefer the first method where y'all just share custody. It's not that hard.
So let's say, JR, let's say there's a mother, right, who needs, she doesn't have that much money. You know, she may have to go to a homeless shelter because, I don't know, she didn't make the right decision, but the father's not paying for the child, which could help her get an apartment. She's going to have to stay in a homeless shelter until she figures it out. And if the parent doesn't pay, the parent doesn't pay, because we can't make people do stuff. It's kind of like you have to know who you're dealing with, who you're going to have a baby with, because sometimes the sign is there. It's just that a lot of us don't look at it. We're looking at everything else. I'm not going to just say everybody we choose is like always going to be bad. Sometimes it's there right in front of you, but we don't see it because we're looking at everything else. So I'm talking about that irresponsibility. I'm not talking about the scammers, because people do scam out here and they will show, you know, something great that's not. I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about people who literally show you 5,000 red flags, but you ain't see not one of them because you was looking at his damn, you know, penis or whatever.
Speaking of which, speaking of which, I'm glad you mentioned that, because y'all remember how many women were talking about Nick Cannon, right? Hold on, wait. How many women were sitting over here getting on Nick Cannon about how many babies he had? And all he did was do a workout video where his print showed, and all the women was like, "Oh, we understand now." That's what y'all making babies over?
Hold on,
that's what y'all making babies over? The women who
I don't know
choose
why y'all think women don't think with they coochie. That's never not been a thing. Why y'all think we always end up in precarious situations with the worst of the worst men? Because the dick be dicking real good. They love talking about how we love high value men, we love 6-figure men, this, that, and the third. And most of the women are conditioned to be with a man that is not financially capable of taking care of multiple people, let alone one family. So it's like, I don't understand the disconnect. We have a very hypersexual environment of women. A lot of these freak hoes be in the closet outside. Right. And we see it. We see it in the clothes. We see it in the behavior. We see it in every sector. It's women out here who are going to get BBLs to go sit in a call center because they are trying to have an aesthetic to appease men. Like, we know this. You guys just do not want to accept the fact women think about sex in a roguish manner the same way y'all do. You don't want to accept it. It's right there.
I'm telling you, that Nick Cannon thing was the proof in the pudding, because all of them was getting on him just last year. And then now all of a sudden they understand why all these women got pregnant. I'm like, y'all, man, it's wild out here. Fellas, be safe.
I thought we were talking about child support on putting other stuff on the table. I see. Let's go ahead and get it started, man.
I mean, in this particular case, I will say, as far as Halle Berry is concerned, this is the second white man she's paying child support for. This current, the other man she's paying $12,000 for their first child. So she's obviously not the primary parent to either child in any situation. That other child is actually with the other dad. She pays $12,000 a month for that other child. This guy, he's not broke, right? Because we love to make that assumption. He does make money, but he's a writer. Everybody knows the writers are on a writer strike. So had this been earlier last year, this probably would have went a different way, because we know Halle ain't got no new roles. She just probably has done very much so great for herself in the financial department. But he does write. He writes music. He's written soundtracks. He does scripts. He's very much so a writer. So she didn't go find on anybody. But in case of the child support, I actually do feel like Lady Di, but not for the same reasons as Lady Di. I do feel like child support is not something we should incorporate into our relationships when it comes to our children, because I do not feel like you need a third party individual to tell you how to raise your child when you was sleeping with them. You ain't need nobody help. So I also know for a fact that child support is actually a scam, which is why they have never enacted the mandate of having mandatory paternity tests, because they make so much money off of it. It goes into generating for Medicare for the children. It goes into generating the financial sector for the vaccines. It goes into generating the money for the public educational system. All of these other sectors is where child support has dispersed from, as well as down into your credit, the DMV as far as your driver's license. All of these other things help contribute to getting child support. And in child support, they only take 25%. So while everybody's sitting here thinking that everybody's getting the bag, no, on average, people are only getting 25% of a person's paycheck pre-tax, and they're living off the rest of it. So when I listen to the idea of child support, I've never been a fan of it. I've never been a fan of it because I feel like you deal with the ramifications of what comes along with making a child. Everybody taking a risk. The same way men taking a risk to deal with a woman who cause hell after you had a baby, it's the same way women deal with the risk that if y'all not marrying before you carry, if things go sour, you might be on your own. So you have to prep for those types of things because we've been conditioned, we've been socialized. Here we are. You know this. We had 40 years of practice.
One thing before Paris, I'm out there. 25% is a lot of goddamn money. There ain't no only on that. That's a lot of money. Could you imagine somebody came in and snatched 25% of your check every month? Or gave you a 25% raise?
I mean,
is it 25%
right?
a month?
I said it and I downplayed it, but I said that as a way of saying, like, hey, it's not this grandiose amount that people think that people are making when the average person is making anywhere from $15 to $21 an hour. But we understand the cost of living. We understand that. Even Sweeney, you mentioned like 50-50. I don't believe in 50-50. I believe in dual parenting. So if we separate, I believe everything that the child has in my house should be at your house. Because a lot of times what we see is women have the 2 bedrooms. They have the bedroom for the child. The man be having one place just for him. That's a bachelor's pad. And then the children have to adjust. I don't think that that should be the way. If my child is over my house with their own bedroom, their own clothes, the only thing that should be going to you at your house is the clothes on their back, the bottles, everything over there need to be with you, the bike, all that. So that's how I think about it.
Well, you know the reason why a lot of fathers don't get like 2-bedroom houses because when the judge tell you only get to see your kid on the first and third weekend of the month, it fiscally, and on top of that you got to pay child support. It fiscally doesn't make sense for you to have a whole entire bedroom set aside for them. You know what I mean? So
no, Sweeney, that don't make sense. You have a child, always have a room. Like,
right. I'm just letting y'all know that when you only see your kid for 2 weekends out the month, it's a total different ball game.
But why do you only see your child 2 weekends out of the month? Like, you're not obligated to only see the child 2 weekends out of the month. You're choosing to listen to what. Well, what I'm saying is you're listening to an order instead of being a father.
Right.
Well, if I say, hey, give me more time, and they say, and the mother says no, here's the court order. What do I do with that?
Well,
no, I like for more time.
It's a fine line, right? So I think both of y'all have a point. I feel like Precious and Lady Di feel. I do not believe that a court should be orchestrating how you deal with the time of your child. But let's be clear. If the court steps in, the person is only obligated to what that document says. Anything outside of that they're doing extra, now that's on some feelings and some morale shit. Take it up with God, because that's what you're asking for. If the court say, I only need to see that child 4 days out the month, and the court say I only owe you $1,200 for that child, anything else excessive, that's some moral shit. Don't nobody care about that. But that's what the document says once you get the law involved. Now, when it comes to the regular part of it, I feel like there should be a duality of it because anything can happen at any time. We know Black women specifically has the highest rate of evictions. Men typically, y'all cohabitate more than us. Y'all do have women often more than us, so y'all have more financial stable than us. I do feel like women should stop trying to make their ego keep the child. Start giving these kids to their dad more. There's no reason why men should be every other weekend parents, or there's no reason why men should be only summertime parents. There are so many sectors of this that we have to break down the mold of and have to start making a normal, because there's too many complaints about shit that really could just be severed really easy.
It needs to be like, I don't even like the like even going to court to see what custody you need to get. I feel if you have a child with somebody, y'all need to live in the same damn county, city, whatever, so you guys could be close. The child could see you and the other parent, you know, at least half the time. I mean, every day sound nice, but see, then you got girlfriends, boyfriends, wives, and all this stuff, and you know it might get complicated. But at least half the, like literally half, 7 days out of the week, split that shit in half. Everything's in half. They go to the school. You guys go to the school with them, the sports, everything. It's like you're seeing both parents all the time. I feel like, you know, our, risk that we're taking and it gets broken down into something that's terrible, meaning that you broke up, you know, it's not the child's fault. So I'm tired of it being, it's like the child has to deal with all of these consequences that is put on us. The children still need to have a stable environment. So having court get involved because you don't get along with somebody, suck it up. Okay, have a conversation with somebody if you can. It's not like that for every scenario. I understand that. But if you are able to, try it first. Just try it. See how far it can go. You might could get something out of it. And you guys need to have everything in writing. Like I said, get it notarized, have a lawyer for that, and then see your child half the time. People can do it. But as Black people, we don't even try to do that. I'm going to court. I'm going to take you. I'm going to do this. Like, why are we always trying to attack somebody because you got hurt? You got cheated on. Okay, it is what it is. Move on. Go get somebody else and still be a parent. So that's what I'm saying.
Hold tight, Sweeney. Let me get.
I'm going to hold my thought.
Yeah. Let me get Trev and Casey Ali in there, and Layla, and then we'll circle back around. Go ahead, Trev.
So, Halle Berry is reported to be worth $90 million. If she paid $8,000 a year for the next 18 years, she would only have to pay $1.72 million. She gonna be all right. First of all, right? As a man, I don't think that if the tables were turned, that the percentage of his money would be so low, right? I'm kind of with Lady Di as far as the scam. I do believe it's a scam because the Fed literally pays the states for every child support case that they enforce. So absolutely, it's a scam. And as far as the DNA, things are changing a little bit. Tennessee just now is the first state to mandate mandatory DNA tests. So and it's reported that a third of those people who go for a DNA test find out that they're not the father. So it's such a mess with this, but I feel like the tables are beginning to turn right now. A lot of people are really getting at Title 4D right now because it's garbage. A lot of laws are changing. You saw that DeSantis in Florida just ended permanent alimony. You can no longer have permanent alimony in Florida, even if you had it before it's been changed. So it's starting to change, and we're starting to see what this looks like. And I think it's going to be good because people are going to start being more responsible, more selective about the people that they choose, because marriage feels disposable. You feel like you could just get in, sign a contract, get out. There's no reason that you should be able to just go to Vegas and elope and just go through a drive-through and get married. People don't care about marriage. They don't respect the sanctity of marriage. And most people don't need to be getting married. That's why the failure rate is so high. For her to be on her third wife, that's trash. Or third husband, I'm sorry. This is just how it happens. And Steve Harvey, yeah, look at him now. Same thing. No matter what, marriage is disposable right now because of the participants. People don't care anymore. You think it's just, okay, yeah, I like this person. I really like, yeah, let's do it. No, you got to take more time vetting, and you won't be in a situation like that. Get with somebody for the right reasons. Find out the type of people that you're compatible with. We don't have respect for it anymore. And as far as Safari, talking smack, anything that clown says you can't take seriously. For real, he's corny. I could say a lot of things about it, but I'm gonna keep it clean. He's always been corny. He's always been dependent on women. He mad right now, and it is what it is. He just gonna have to watch it happen. $8,000 is not that deep for her, I would say.
All right, Trev Smooth pocket watching too. Say he looking it up. Go ahead, Casey.
Hey.
Can y'all hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
I I agree with everything Lady Di and Paris had to say. I think it's sad. I think the children just get lost in translation in the whole situation. It's two individuals being, playing yo-yo back and forth with a child. I feel like even in the worst of situations, sometimes if you really truly love that person, whether it's somebody you just created a child with, or all right, Tequila, Tremana, or if it was a person that you were married with, it has to be some type of honor and friendship between two people that decided to do life together, where I think Lady Di said it, like, why would you want that person to just suffer through life financially if it's going to be something, that could be a strain on them financially, on top of your child going to them in a strained financial situation, if you have the shared custody like Sweeney was describing. It's heartbreaking, it's sad, and I don't wish that on anybody. Like you said, the retainer fees, the lawyers being involved, the judge being involved, your business being out there. None of those people are involved in that process, like Paris said, of making that child. So it's like, why does it have to go to that point? Even if it's the worst of cheating or something like that, where an individual is truly like hurt and feel disrespected. But at the end of the day, like, we're adults and everyone's adults in the situation, to have to bring all those people in it and then have to, one person asking for money and the other person maybe denying the money for the child, is a really sad situation. I don't believe in the 50-50 either, because parenting isn't 50-50. Like, a relationship, a marriage isn't 50-50. Like, we're, like Michelle Obama said, it could be 80-20, it could be 100-100, like whatever it is, like, we both have to go hard every single day for our child, whether that's financial, whether that's, being there for them, doctor's visits. Like, it's not just, oh, it's my turn to take the child to the doctor. We should both be there. So I don't believe in the 50-50 monetary wise or physically. I don't believe in that. So it's a sad situation, and I'll land my plane there.
Let me also say, if anybody needs to know for general information, the average child support case takes approximately $8,000 to $12,000 for you to get it started. So while we talk about lawyers and things like that, the average individual don't have that. It takes $8,000 to $12,000 just to start fighting the case. So we need to stop trying to integrate the idea that we can go to court and men can fight. Nobody should be fighting for their right to be a part of a child's life that they have helped created and want to be around. We should not be doing that.
All right. Go ahead, Ali.
So I'm turning a new leaf tonight, a completely new leaf tonight. With conversations I've had with Brother Sweeney, with conversations I had with Brother Trev. I think that our women are beautiful, our women are intelligent, our women are amazing, and I really believe that we need to give them the power. We need to give them all the control that they want. We need to let them have this power to compete. They ask for 50-50. They ask for equality. And what they're doing is competing. They want to compete for control. So I believe we should give them that control. Are we incentivizing men to be great fathers? No. Are we incentivizing men to be great husbands? No. Are we incentivizing men for taking care of the community? No. But our women are being incentivized to have babies out of wedlock and then get child support, to go and pick up a man if he's not paying child support, go and garnish his paycheck. If he does get married, we'll divorce him when we want to. And typically he'll have to pay alimony or pay half after he just gave you all the half, right? So we're looking in a society where our women are being incentivized to do this. So I can't blame them anymore. I'm not going to blame them anymore. I think we're the problem now. And I don't even mean it in a bad way. I mean, they've made this competition. If our ladies said they're going to do what they want to be happy, they have every right to be happy. They have every right to do what they want to do, but let's make it fair across the board. So what brothers like us need to do will go, okay, ladies, y'all want the power to be happy? We got to go to court. And I'm dead serious about this. We got to go to the court system. They had their women's movement. They had these LGBT movements. They had this obesity movements. They want to be as big as they want to be. Let them be happy. Give them everything that they want. And then it's the responsibility and burden is on them. So what needs to happen, though, is that we need to go to court and go, hey, Mr. Judge, since she has the right to abort, I have the right to walk away from this baby, this little stinking baby. Since she has the right to terminate put the child up for abortion, adoption, I get to put the little stinking baby up for adoption too, because you're not going to be deemed no deadbeat mama. And you have every right to do that. Y'all phenomenal. Y'all amazing. Y'all, our sisters are amazing. You know, they telling you they about their happiness. They got to do what they want to do. Right. So, when you was married to me, if I made more money than you, I was a more powerful man, and I needed to accommodate your lifestyle. And when we went apart, I had to pay child support. It's your turn. If you made more money than me and you the boss, you got that bag, and you said I'm wearing a dress, I'm gonna wear that dress. I'm gonna be the daddy, the stepdaddy of the year. I'm gonna be the stay-at-home daddy of the year. I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna cook. I'm gonna clean. I'm gonna watch these kids when they come home. I'm gonna let you have it your way. So since you want to wear the pants, I'm gonna wear this dress. But you can't complain about me wearing this dress because this is what you wanted. And it's not a reflection to the women on the panel. We have to stop complaining. Give them everything they want. They want to be happy. Let them be happy, man. Give them what they want. But I believe now moving forward, we go to the court system, like I said, and it has to be new contracts. If I'm engaging with a lady, okay, I only wanted sex from you. I ain't want no kid. I'm having sex with you in pursuit of a relationship and then possibly marriage. There has to be contracts between people now that our women want to move like this and then incentivize, then we can't be mad at them, right? We need to change our outlook. Our sisters are the best now. They're the greatest, and they have every right to do what makes them happy. And I think we're the problem. If we want to change something, we need to go to the court system. We need to have our own movement, and we need to stop complaining. I think we just need to stop today. Let them have it.
I don't know this, Ali.
No.
Ali, I know you're being sarcastic.
No. I'm dead serious, because as much as we try to help people, they don't want help. As much as we want to give people advice, they don't want advice. As much as you might want to put someone on a diet, they don't want no diet. As much as you want to help somebody with their kid, hey, don't talk to my kid. As much as you want to help that woman with her relationship and she tell you her man garbage, but don't talk about my man, you can't talk about nothing. You can't tell a lot of sisters anything. But guess what? She don't want you to tell her, and she has every right not to want to listen to you. So what I'm saying is, as brothers, stop fighting. I need to stop fighting. I need to accept exactly where our sisters are today. And we didn't have these conversations 50 billion times.
1,001 times.
So give them what they want, but just make sure it's a two-way street. If you want to have sexually liberated, don't talk about don't tell me to add discipline and control my manhood. If you want to get married when you want to get married, don't tell me when I need to get married. If you ain't got to be responsible of the community, don't tell me I got to be responsible of the community. That's all I'm saying. We are fighting too much. And then we have some sisters. Pears, I'm proud of you. I don't know what's been going on with you. I gotta watch out for you, but you've been on fire. But Precious, Lady Di, they do everything they can to align. They may not be perfect, but they trying their best to align with brothers and trying to have a better community. And a lot of sisters are saying no. And a lot of brothers that say no too are aligning with those women and will complain about us, complaining about the problem, but they don't care about the problem. So when we complaining, it's a problem. but they don't complain about the actual issue. So all I'm saying is that let people do what they want to do now. And we stay in our lane. That's it. Let them do what makes them happy. But don't say when a man does what makes him happy, don't complain. Please don't complain. Because everybody lying and nobody getting along. And we the worst at making relationships now, but that should be all right. So let's give everybody what they want.
I've always said that I never understood why we keep arguing with women about child support rights and custody rights, because that ain't their fight. I expect them to do exactly what they're doing, getting everything they can out the deal. Our fight is with the government. Our fight is with the court system. We take our fight there, because ain't no arguing with women about that. They're going to get what they want to get out the deal. You can't argue with them. You can only go to the court and get what you need to get out the deal.
I got a question for the men on the panel, JR too. So if Halle Berry had a kid with you and she had to pay you $8,000, you taking the $8,000?
I'm riding out to the sunset with that $8,000. I'm gonna start me a business. I might start me a trade school or something like that. Or I might grow some produce in my backyard. I'm gonna ride out to she shouldn't be upset. This is what we wanted.
To grow produce in your backyard.
I'm gonna build me a whole garden. I'm gonna open me a grocery store. I'm gonna put the produce in the grocery store, give back to the community. Yep, that's what make me happy. I'm gonna give to the community and help y'all. If from now on, if my sister don't want that, I'm not gonna be mad about it anymore. I ain't fighting that anymore. Baby, you don't want that. That's okay, baby. I still love you. You have every right to do what you want to do, but don't ask for my coverage. Don't ask for my protection. If you run up the street and you equal and you think you can fight old buddy up the street or a stud or whatever you fighting up there, don't call for Ali. No, you go one-on-one with the stud now. You one-on-one with them brothers. We equal now. This is the world we wanted, right? Or is this the world we were programmed to want? Either way, we have to let them have it. Because if we're the only ones thinking rational, if there's a limited amount of sisters thinking rational, we're going to lose either way. Because y'all know this, no matter what, when the family feud, we all lose. No matter what, we all lose. So let's just be happy and lose together.
The issue with child support is that all of these things were put in place for white women. They were not for black women. And now we have become the poster child for all things bad when it comes to being demonized and pit against our men. And I really hate that, because we don't actually look at the full totality of it. And then we don't realize that the child support inadvertently directly correlates to the system that's put into place that already affects 1 out of 4 black men. So it's like we're fighting backwards, right? Like we're helping them do the justice of the most active parent not being most active. And the way that they're able to even count it is because of child support to a degree, because black men are the demographic that is least likely to participate in anything that the government does. They're the least likely to even account for the census, voting, anything you can think of. They don't want to participate. So when I see the idea of child support, we got to realize that this is not just something that's dealt with the principle of right and wrong and who made the child. This affects us on a grander scale, because you're putting your child in the system before they ever got a chance.
Well, like one thing real quick, Sweeney, like the words of the great philosopher Beyonce, 1 + 1 = 2. And if we're not going to come together to make the 2, it ain't going to work. Queen Bee said it.
You're absolutely right. I actually agree with everything you said. I
2.
literally agree with everything you said, because
if y'all don't want the 2, what y'all want to do? If we the only ones on one side, I love you. I want to take care of you. I want to take care of the baby. I want to take care of it. It ain't no 2.
Right. You're
it's
right.
1.
We cannot have it all the way. We cannot be the ones to say we complaining about having the children, but we also want to domineer keeping the kids. We also cannot sit here and say we're complaining about us not making the money that the men make, but we're also wanting the men to take care of us, right, wrong, indifferent, whether they're present or not. And now we're having that social fight of who's more important, the baby mama or the wife. Like, it's too conflicting. It's too much. I feel like Ali is absolutely right. We got so conditioned to having everything our way. If we don't want it, the men should stop fighting us. Make us sit in it. But what's happening is y'all encouraging, y'all pamper bad behavior. We're coddled. Black women are very coddled. And the fact that y'all keep fighting so hard against it, it is making it even worse, because the social conditioning, all you're doing is amping up the bad behavior, and you're losing in the end, not us. I can go have a baby by Sweeney and go marry Ali, and now I'm getting checks from 2 men. that are socially required to provide for me and one of their children. And if I have another one by Ali, we locked in. And then if me and Ali divorced, he taking care of me. He taking care of 2 children, and Sweeney's still taking care of me and taking care of 1 child. The game is rigged.
Oh yeah.
And you know what's crazy though?
Pull-out game, right?
So kind of like to allude.
That don't matter either, Clout.
Kind of allude with what Lady Di was talking about. You want to know the reason why men have to get the court involved? And this is the reality, because when a baby is born and we're not married to that woman, we have no rights to that child. None whatsoever. So she can skate off into the sunset. Now, granted, if we have, you know what I mean, in some states, if you actually have the child with you, you can skate off into the sunset too. But what's the likelihood of that? Most of the time, men have no rights to the child. So we have no choice but to go to the courts to get any modicum of rights to even see our children. And I know a lot of people say, well, you should just be able to fight. You should just be able to fight. Well, if the only thing she has to fight, or the only thing that a woman has to do in that situation is say no, and she gets covered and she gets the state on her side and she has the state as a representative of her. But when I say I want to see my child, I got to go hire a lawyer for $5,000 to $18,000.
Yeah, you realize she says, like, our problem is she says no to everything, right? The best way to determine if your woman really sees you as a leader and if she's loyal to you is the way she handles no. How she handles your answer of no, and how she confides in you and looks at your intuition, looks at you as a principled man. It's how she handles when you tell her no. She go, you know what? He doing what's in the best interest of the family, whatever you say, because I know I'm gonna win in every other department because I got you. So if she can't handle no in this society, which is the problem, and you gotta say what she want to hear, say what she want to think, and take her where she want to go, then we're gonna lose, and we just have to accept it. But I'm going to accept it. I'm going to be happy for her. I'm going to be happy for her because I'm going to be happy for me too. And like I told y'all, until we are brothers planning on creating signatures, me, Trev, JR2, Sweeney sitting at the table together as a collective of men, having million-man marches and going to the court system, this boat needs to stop, because I can't be mad at them if the government is giving them incentives. It's giving them incentives. So think about it. If I can go out the street and just have 10 wives because I want them, I say I want 10 wives. Are you gonna do it, Sweetie?
Man, hey.
Yeah, you know, you don't do that. Trev, you gonna do it? JR gonna do it. If I could say, hey, I want all 10 of y'all and on demand and it's all right, we're gonna do it.
And
so
if a woman says it's good,
if a woman has my baby and then she can go in and get a computer to punch in my name in there, and then someone come pick me up, like, why wouldn't she do it? Why wouldn't she garnish my paycheck? Why wouldn't she back up all them years I went with my kid and I got to pay over $100,000 of back child support? Why would she do that? Especially when you put us in positions where we're already struggling. So if we're already in a place of struggle and we're not in a place of love, what else is she incentivized to do? Especially our history. So we have to turn a new leaf. We got to be happy for them. Because they better be happy for us when this stuff change. They better be happy. Since they ain't happy anymore, they better, when that thing swing around, that it ain't fun when the rabbit got the gun. Just say, baby, I want what's good for you too. I want what's in your best interest, because we did what was in their best interest, and look at where we are. Well, look at what a single parent family, the broken home, has done to the family. Versus a single father, having his household equates to 2-parent household. That's data, versus what single parents have done.
Let me go ahead, Layla. What are your thoughts about it? I know you came in on the tail end of.
Yeah, so, my thoughts on it, I agree a little bit with Ali, Paris, and also with Casey, because really what it comes down to is the system is not built for men. It's just not. And I don't think it's fair. And I do think it's very much funded and promoted by the government. And I think really, like, the concept of a man not being able to get child support for his kid, or that being deemed wrong, the only person suffering for it is the kid. Like everyone else really was saying it. What it really comes down to, child support isn't meant for you to go ahead and get your newer shoes and your newer whatever you're trying to get for yourself. It's really meant to provide for your child and everything that comes with your child. The bills for the child to be able to play video games, the
school backpacks, all of that. So the concept a man, because he's a man, can't get child support, I think is just ridiculous. And I also agree that honestly, the way the system is, until there is some type of change where people, specifically men, step out of the ego and rally up and be like, hey, this has to change, it's not going to change. Because you're right. You, like Ali's right. You don't hear about men standing up for these changes. Oftentimes, I feel like it's because of the male ego. Like as a man, like whatever shenanigans Safari saying, that is the problem. The egotistical way of thinking. Like just because a woman is a woman, that does not mean that she's obligated and it's okay for her to use the system to abuse a guy financially. So I just think the whole concept is nuts. I don't agree with it. So
All right. You guys just tuning in. Welcome to Lapeef. Let's talk. Make sure you guys hit the like button. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Shout out again to the sponsor, Tees Hanley, Uncomplicated Skincare for Men. 30% off along with a free gift. That link is in the description. Go ahead and get your Tees pack. Take care of skin, men. Do have a few super chats came through. Let me go ahead and get to it. Get rid of this. The will. I'm fundamentally against court order child support as a concept. But in this world of equality where men get screwed on a regular basis with child support, pay up, lady. Big Jizz composition, $2 says for the child right, pay up, not a topic if a man. BZ, $2 says give Paris an emoji Lapeef. And Sanya One, $2 says E. Who pays that cost at the end though? Who pays that cost at the end though?
They mean the overall?
No idea. Super chat and respond. The will. Also, remember $5 says Ali's presidential slogan for 2024. Let's lose together. All right. Ali, you should go ahead and take us into the next topic. You said that 1 + 1 is what?
Equals 2.
Oh man, it's a classic moment right there, man. Somebody said need to make that into a sound bite.
Hold on, before you move on to the next, I do want to ask the ladies on the panel. I want to ask everybody on the panel: is $500 a month enough child support for one child?
No.
Can I ask a question?
Go ahead.
What's better, $500 a month or amazing man in the household?
Always the man in the household.
Okay, thank you.
yeah, I'll take the man in the household.
But let's
Or
assume
you
man ain't. Let's just say.
Oh, hold on. And he got $500.
So y'all said $500 ain't enough for one child.
No, I and this is me personally, right? Like I don't have children, but I honestly feel that me personally, right? And this is situational. I feel like the child support should always be the standard of the rent. Everything else she needs to do.
So,
but
right.
I say that, and let me tell you why I say that, right? Because I know somebody gonna run off with that. Y'all gonna hear, y'all gonna go crazy. I say that because inadvertently we don't realize we are practicing polygamy, and that's the start. Like that's the only reason.
Can I challenge that real quick, Paris? Should child support at any capacity pay somebody bills? Shouldn't I pay my own bills and you pay your own bills, and whatever bill comes with the child, that's what we put in on? Wouldn't that be the fair thing to do? You pay your bills at your house. I pay my bills in my house. Child support should not be paying your bills. Child support should be going whatever that baby needs, and we got that list of whatever that baby needs. It should go to that. Should nobody use no baby as a way to pay their bills? It should be.
Hold on, Ali. Hold on.
Wait.
But hold on. I gotta finish though. It's her right. So we gotta support our women. If that's what they want to do, that's what we gotta do.
Ali, I agree with you, but that's not essentially what I'm saying. What I'm saying is at the basis of this, right? Everything else should fall back on the primary parent. So you are essentially, your input is ensuring that the child has a place to stay always. And that is essentially what you would be doing if you were in the household with the child as the primary custodian. But everything else, like, because what we see now is not only are men paying child support on the larger scale, the masses, they're also paying for the medical. If anybody got a family medical plan, that's coming out your job. That shit is expensive, bro. Like, it's not Medicare, Medicaid. It's not what the government giving you from the state. That's a whole nother different ball game. And now they have enacted where even in the state of Arkansas, if you go and apply for child support, apply for food stamps, the person automatically has to be put on child support. But I personally feel like that's where the cutoff should be. That steady month of your rent, that's what that is. I ensure that my child has a place to stay. You just getting a benefit because you have my child. And that, to me, that should be applied to man or woman.
All right. So from what I'm gathering, y'all saying that $500 a month ain't enough in child support.
I didn't say anything yet.
Yeah, what do you think, Layla?
I
just need to guess real
so
quick.
my personal opinion is it should be based off of the income of the primary parent. So $500 a month additional if you're about middle class, depending where you are middle class. Say you're making $70,000 a year and you're getting $500 additional for your child. Depending on the age of that child and everything else, that might be enough, because say the other parent's only making $25,000 annually or $35,000 annually, that $500 a month is gonna mean more to them than it is someone that's making them more money. So it depends on a person. Now, somebody now on the flip side, middle class and being part of the middle class, we're not eligible for no benefits or no nothing, nothing at all. So unless you're like upper middle class and you're making between 70, 80, 100,000, and then you're getting a little child support on top of that, you might be good. But if you're middle class and you're making 40, 50, maybe even 60,000 and you have that child, it might not be enough because you're coming out of pocket for everything. So it really depends on the class. Now, somebody who has no income and is living off of the system, 500 is enough because they're getting that 500 in child support along with food stamps, rental assistance, food pantries, whatever else they can get as a person that isn't part of the middle or higher classes. They're eligible for it all. So I think it really depends on how much that parent's bringing in.
All right, real precious.
Sweeney, can I answer the question?
Yeah, go ahead. My bad.
No. Sweeney, I don't know how old your kids are, but things are high as hell. Okay. A box of diapers now is gonna run you $50 to $60. All right. And that's anywhere from 72 diapers to like 92, or you can get like 112, 15, something like that. Right. So kids go through diapers. We have a 5-month-old, we have a 2-year-old. Our 2-year-old is not out of diapers yet. So we're buying 2 boxes of diapers at a time.
Milk
the
costs
5-month-old,
Milk costs $40 a can.
Is up. That's more your generic brands. Enfamil is about $55 now. Okay, or Similac is $55 if you're not breastfeeding. If you are breastfeeding, your grocery bill is going to be out the wazoo, because if you're breastfeeding, you have to eat calories to produce milk and drink tons of water, right? So either the mom is going to be eating constantly, whether eating healthy food, but she's going to be eating constantly, right, to keep their milk production high. Or if you're on formula, you got to buy that formula every week, because most cans last a week. So let's say that's $50 or $40 times 4. Okay, then you got $55 for that box of diapers, and they probably going through that like a week and a half times 4, right? And then if you have an older child, that child is eating. Groceries are high. I don't care if you're cooking or buying food out or doing Uber Eats, you're gonna be paying constantly. I cook and eat. I have to eat. My husband have to eat. The children eat. The baby eating formula. The 2-year-old go outside to play. She want a snack, right? Then it's time for lunch. Then she want a snack. Then it's time for dinner. So you got to think. I don't care how old your child is. The older your child is, you got to buy clothes. They want tennis shoes. The younger your child is, they not staying in clothes no time. Our daughter growing out of clothes every other day. I'm like, she's staying a pair of shoes for a month, and then it's up another size. So you got to think like $500 in 2023 is like gonna be stretching it. I didn't even mention childcare, and I didn't mention health insurance.
Can I ask
health
a question?
Health insurance is gonna be another $800 if you're working and don't have government assistance.
What's respectfully? What is the Like respectfully too. I swear I mean respectfully.
No,
What is
no,
the
no,
point?
no.
What is the point we trying to let you and Paris are trying to make about it? About
No,
child support?
Sweeney
Oh no, I
saying
asked the question, bro. Let
$500
him rock it out. Let
not
him rock it out.
No,
enough.
no, but I want to know but still I still want to I would like to know the point. That's what I'm just asking respect. It ain't like I'm trying to
Yeah, no. I'm against child support, right? So it's not. I'm not trying to make a point saying a man should be paying or a woman should be paying. I'm not. Yeah, I'm not. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is children are expensive. The question he asked was, is $500 enough per month for a child? And in 2023, maybe if you, like Layla said, if you have government assistance, it might be able to stretch out for what the child is, not including bills of a mom or a father. I'm not talking about any bills. I'm only talking about the necessities of a child. If government assistance is not there, child care is running anywhere from $250 to $400 per week, right? If that mother or father is working,
if they don't get a voucher,
the younger they are, the higher it is. So if that mother pop that baby out and go right back to work, she needs childcare. And any mom and any father, especially if you have a certain style of living and you care about your child's going to be, even if you do a mommy's day out, right, to take care of some errands, you're going to want your child in the best place possible. So you're not going to go to no place, no burglar bars or no hood nursery. You're going to go to somewhere where they're going to be learning and everything else.
So what you're saying, so you're saying, ladies, if you plan on having a child that you want, period, this is what comes with it, right? If you plan on having a child, even with a man that don't want to be there, this is what comes with it, right?
Yeah.
Because again, we want. I'm like I said, I'm supporting y'all decisions. I'm supporting what a woman wants to do.
So that's supporting my decisions because I believe in a two-parent household, regardless of anything.
Right.
I
But if
believe
she
in duty.
chooses,
Duty over happiness. Period. There is no my wants, my needs for my life.
Right. But what I'm saying is, what I'm asking is, if I decide to have a baby or date a stripper, and she won't stop stripping, or she do a little other extra stuff on the side of the stripping, this is the risk that comes with it, right? I'd be crazy to expect the stripper to do something different. So what I'm saying is that, right? That's all I'm asking. So I'm talking about people watching, not YouTube. You know, I'm not trying to.
Hey, hold on.
You know, I'm not
we gotta get through this because I know JL trying to move on to the next
topic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come on. I need the other answers before I give my soliloquy real quick.
Dang, you going, Pat? All right, go ahead.
I'm gonna just keep it short and sweet. You asked is 500 enough for child support, and this is just a mother and her child, right? We ain't talking about a whole bunch of kids. We just talking about
just a mother and a child. Yep.
If this is a mother and her child, I think $500 a month is enough because you the other parent. So I would, imagine you coming with another 500 plus whatever. So I don't see why that's not enough.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree with Precious. Because once you split, you need to go ahead and work to pay for your child in its entirety because you cannot depend on. That's the problem. We keep depending on. Oh well, you're the father, so you got to. We got to understand they don't have to. Unfortunately, it is what it is. I'm not saying that it's right. I'm saying that they don't have to, and they have the right not to in this society. So at the same time, you split. You better go get a better paying job. If he can't provide, then you need to provide. Don't worry about what someone else is doing. And I'm talking about, that's the father. But don't worry about what the father or the mother's doing. You do it. You have everything you need to have for your child. $500 is definitely enough.
Can we say the other one?
I mean,
the other one is if you do end up having with a responsible man, hopefully that's a guy that maybe wanted a kid too. If you can't afford a kid, give the kid to the father.
Right.
All right. So here's the reason why
y'all know shoes cost $250.
And
shoes.
You don't have to buy. You don't have to buy.
If you go to Walmart, you could get pair for $25.
Everybody on here got kids. Ain't no shoes. You choosing to pay for $250 shoes. You better press mute. You over there buying Jordans.
So here's the thing. This is the reason why I asked that question. The average man makes roughly about $50,000 a year. About roughly 25% of that for one kid, you're looking at $500 a month for one kid. The average amount of parenting time that a man gets is about 35% of the time. So that's roughly 100 some days a year. 500. If you look at how much it costs to raise a child, that's $310,000 a year. The father pays $100. That's $310,000 over the child's lifetime, over from 0 to 18. He pays 108 of that. That's not counting the fact that he still has to have his kid 35% of the time, and he will still be paying child support during that period of time. So technically, if you look at 35% of that, that's also an additional 108,000 he's going to pay over that child's lifetime. So that's actually 216,000 out of 310,000 that he will wind up paying in child support or paying for his child directly, and he will be paying 108,000 even though he only gets the child a third of the time. So $500 is most definitely enough to pay in child support for a child when you actually get 35% of the time, and you're only raising a kid, and you're paying a third of that, and still paying child support while you got the child. So anybody that sits here and says that this is not enough, you're fooling yourself. Because I guarantee you, if your boss gave you a $500 a month raise, you will be jumping for joy.
Man, that sounds like you're a goddamn attorney or something, man.
I just wanted to let everybody know.
Sweetie, watch how you handle me in case.
Like the judge.
That girl said 250. Baby shoes.
you
These
handle
baby
me
shoes
in
got 250.
Because we can do this. We can do this arranged.
Look, he can do the math all day
and
long.
we can do this
He
from
can do
That
the
man was mapping over
we
there.
didn't even,
You wanna
we
go,
didn't even talk
sweetie?
about activities. We didn't even go into activities. The kids having activities and extracurricular sports and all of that stuff.
Like,
now y'all
let me say it again.
But it's like y'all
I am
there's
against
ways
child
around.
support.
Right, y'all are
against child
against child support, right? So y'all are against
don't
child
sound like it.
support, which means that $500 is not going to be enough, right? It's not going to be enough, but that's the penalty that you pay when, or that some people think they gain it, but that's the penalty you pay when you're not in a
did what you
two-parent
wanted.
household,
You
right?
did what you
Because
wanted.
I
because
agree.
realistically, I said it's enough for a child and a mother, but realistically, is it really enough? Because when you're in a two-parent household, you're going to get two-parent financials, so you ask the question. So it may be enough for one person, but at the end of the day, that child is going to get older, they're going to get bigger, expenses are going to go up. So, is it enough? You can make it work, but at the end of the day, it's not fair to the child, period. There is no price tag. There is no price tag. You're raising a child.
Bingo.
Yeah, we got to move on. So, just to kind of sum it all up, children are expensive. And if you want your child to be able to enjoy sports, activities, wear nice things, go nice places, then you got to spend some money.
The median black household income is $48,000 a year. Most of that shit getting subsidized. You find the free programs for your kids to go in. You're going to the YMCA. The local coach. A lot of that stuff gets subsidized. So anytime somebody says, like, we don't have money like that for us to be acting as if most of us is paying $310,000 for kids. We're not.
It's getting done.
Your kids gonna be wearing bubblegum shoes from Walmart, or you're gonna go to what is that place called? Shoes for Less, or what is that shoe carnival to get your kids some shoes. Like, because the reality is we ain't got that type of money for us to be sitting over here talking about that a man paying you $500 extra a month in child support is not enough. That's crazy.
Oh yeah. Let me go ahead and get to these other super chats that came through for the next topic. Lauren Mack, also member 499, says MLG wearing an Ali mask. I've been out here say, stop. No, she just probably talking about your talking points. Ricky Williams, what's going on, brother Ricky? 499 says kids are considered income for most women. They are your kids when she's broke, but her kids when there's a payment attached. And $1-2 says child support should be only for child exclusive stuff. And saying $1-2 says feed them chicken nuggets like tyranny or Sunday breakfast. Underground Zone $5 says, I tell you one thing, these mothers complaining about how much kids cost won't let go spending money on nails, lashes. Ricky Williams again, 199 says it costs a woman $0 to keep her legs full.
Damn.
All right, with that being said, hit the like button, family. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Again, shout out to the sponsor, T Channel. Moving on to our next topic of tonight is, if a woman's boss at work says she needs to do better, she corrects her actions. I'm going to play this clip.
Up to you and says, hey, I need you to do better with this. You say, yes, sir. Your husband comes up to you and says, hey, I need you to do better with this at home. You say, you're not the boss of me. Why does your boss have more hierarchy than your husband? Oh, because my boss pays me. Your boss can fire you tomorrow without giving you a 2-week notice. Your boss doesn't love you. He just loves that the position is being filled. If you die today, he'll have a replacement tomorrow. I said what I said. I didn't stutter.
All right. Let's go ahead and dive into this topic. I do want to get to Trev, Cloud, and Layla first. Go ahead, Trev. What are your thoughts about that? If a woman's boss at work says she needs to do better, she corrects her actions. But when, not all women, but some women, when their husband approaches and tries to communicate with them, he doesn't get that same respect.
I said it once, I say it again. If women put the same effort that they did as far as their career into obtaining and retaining a man, divorce rate would probably be in the single digits. Women know how to dress appropriately when they go to work. Women prepare for that job. They go to school to make sure that they are equipped and competent for that particular job. They conduct themselves well when they are at that job. They do things to get promotions when they are at that job. They put forth effort. They make sure they are on time, everything. And if there is something that they need to be corrected on, they don't have any issues with it because it's what's expected. The problem is it's no longer expected for you to be checked by your man. And that's where we have the problem. Why can't you give the same effort? Just like Homegirl said, if something happened to you, the job's not going to care. They're just going to replace you. Your man is going to be stuck taking care of you if something happens to you where you can no longer do your career. The job is not going to help you with your kids. The job is not going to be there for you emotionally. The job doesn't care. Your boss doesn't care. You are a number. All that these careers care about are numbers. Black and white and green. Nothing else matters. Nothing else matters. Your boss might like you, but he's not going to go to bat for you like your husband will. There's nothing you can do for that particular boss or career that's going to make them feel the same way that your husband does.
So Trev, just kind of follow-up question with you real quick. I'm just trying to get an understanding, and I want the people that's watching to get an understanding as well as people on the panel. Why is it that she changes, or not changes, but why is it that she does that? You know, why can't it be the other way around?
The number one rule, the number one requirement from men, right? It's the number one requirement from men is respect. And that's what's going. If the woman respected their man like they do their boss and their career, then they would treat them properly. That's the problem. The respect is no longer there, and they can't care about you if the respect isn't there. They can't love you if the respect isn't there. They respect that career, right? They worried about the money because they love the things that money can do for you. But today's society, we put money over everything. It's money over morals. It's money over family right now. That's what today's society has taught us, that money is just going to bring you everything you want, but it won't. You're still going to be empty. You're hollow. Money is not going to fill that. It starts with you and your family. There's no more respect.
All right. Let me go ahead. Go ahead. Real precious.
I was gonna say she's not seeing him. She's not seeing the value in him. She thinks that her boss is respecting her, or she thinks she's getting respect from her job because she's getting a paycheck and she's filling a position. When in all actuality, like the lady said, if you were to die tomorrow, your boss is gonna fill your position. And honestly, I think it should be that way with men and women. If she's not respecting you, you need to refill the position. And when women look at men as businesses, like he is the business, you know, I am the employee. I'm here to serve. I'm here to work. But women don't look at men like that. I would say women are helpmates. If he's not giving you anything to help him with, then you have no purpose there. But a lot of women don't look at men like, what can I do for you? It's what can I get from you? And as soon as you're thinking about what you can get from him, you've already lost respect for him because you're not looking at him as a human being. You're looking at him as a price tag or someone you can use.
All
And
right,
at
go ahead.
work, you can't be used. You're bought.
Go ahead, Cloud Jones.
I pretty much agree with like everything Trev said. I mean, it's like, unfortunately, we live in a society where money is valued above all, and for some women, they don't see emotional currency as more valuable than physical currency, financial currency. So unfortunately, in that situation, if they value financial currency more than the emotional currency, then the person who's providing them with financial currency in their mind is going to have more leverage over them, and I think that leverage creates respect. I think on top of that too, I think a lot of men don't use leverage in their relationship in general. Like, I think the emotional currency that's given is given freely, and it's not leveraged to a sense of, like, okay, well, if you're not doing this, then this is going to stop. And I feel like a lot of women aren't actually afraid of losing whoever their supply of emotional currency is. Whereas when it comes to financial currency, it's like that's something they actually have to fear. Like, if I don't hand in this report, I could lose my job and I'll lose my paycheck and my lifestyle. But if I don't show up to dinner on time, he'll be all right. He's not gonna really be that mad. Like, nothing's gonna change. He might complain a little bit or whatever, but he's still gonna take me out. He's still gonna buy me that bag on my birthday that I want. So why am I gonna trip over, what he's saying? It's makes more sense to them to trip over what their boss is saying because he has more leverage and control over their life. So I feel like a lot of it, although a lot of it has to do with money, I think a good portion of it has to do with how the men in these relationships are perceiving themselves and perceiving their own value. Like, if you're a dude who just doesn't accept certain things, I feel like you're going to get a certain response from whatever woman you're dealing with. But we live in a society where a lot of men are conditioned to accept certain disrespect, accept certain disloyalty, and by them accepting it, they create the reality that they're living in. So, yeah, I think that's really what it boils down to.
All right. Go ahead, Layla.
So for me, honestly, I feel as though kind of same as everybody else. As a woman, you should just be respecting your man and loving on him and being with him and listening to him as if he would be your boss. Because at the end of the day, you guys are in a partnership. Work is a partnership. When you're working with somebody and they're telling you to improve and to do better, you have no hesitation because they're cutting you a check. But then when your dude's like, hey, listen, I need you to do this to improve, and you're like, nah, like, come on, man. Like, if you lose your job tomorrow, who are you going to depend on? You're going to go to your partner. And then all of a sudden it's I'm going to be out. I'm sorry. I didn't mean this. And it's going to be a change of attitude. Ladies, if you lead the relationship with respect, don't get with a man that you don't respect. If you know you're going to look at him as if he's beneath you, then don't be with him. Leave that man alone. Stop being toxic. So I personally think that more women need to listen to their man the way they would listen to their boss instead of being all hot over their boss because they have a false sense of what they think their boss is, what the false sense that this person holds the power. When reality, if you're with somebody and y'all doing things together, your person should be the one holding the power because he's going to hold you down. So that's how I feel. I think there's a bunch of narcissists in the world.
All right. So she should listen to her partner. Is it the same as a husband?
Partner, husband, whoever it is, if you decided that you're going to be in a relationship with that person and you're going to take your time to invest your time and energy to build ideally a marriage or whatever you guys are committing to, say you don't believe in marriage and you guys are just trying to live together or open business together, listen to the person that you chose. Listen to the person you chose. Hoes listen to their pimps. Listen to the person you chose.
Okay. Oh, listen to their pimps. All right. Go ahead, Casey.
women don't listen to men in relationships and marriages because it's all goes back to lack of fatherhood, lack of fathers in the home, and lack of husbands. So women are literally, they don't understand the correction from a man because of, not having a father in the home or not seeing their mother with a husband. I really think it's foreign to a lot of women to have that correction in the household. So, but one thing we are used to in the Black community is paying all due respect to that job, right? Like, oh, I'm not going to be at this because I got to work. Mama got to work. Daddy got to work. So people will do what they have to do in order to keep that job in line and that career in line. But when it comes to the home, that correction from a male figure is missing with Black women, I feel.
That correction is Black. Is it only Black women?
I think
I feel that's what a main part of it is, and that's what we're talking about.
I think
Okay, so no Asian women, just Black women.
I mean, this kind of goes back to the same conversation we were talking about before with child support, the Black community. I don't believe other communities as far as marriages. We are the least married, right? Black women are the least married out of everyone, right? So if you're not getting married, that means the relationship is struggling, is not getting to marriage, or people are picking wrong. So it all goes back to women not being in line, women not wanting or valuing families, valuing communities. I think it all goes back to that lack of fatherhood, lack of male figures in the home, and lack of correction. If you didn't see your mom and your dad have a healthy relationship as far as, the balance of power in the household, and you didn't see your father, as a young girl, like correct you, love you, but also correct you as well, I think you're going to struggle with that when it comes to adulthood and dating men in relationships, and a man being like, hey, no, we're not going to move over there. We're going to do this, or we're not going to go this way, this route. Like, I hear you, I listen to you, I respect you, I love you, I value you. But as the man in the house, I feel like this is what we're going to do. And I feel this is best for our family. If you haven't seen that before, it may be a very challenging and a friction, very like rigorous process for you to deal with it. But what we do see in our community is us and our family and our parents and just people around us valuing their career and jobs. And everything will fall and suffer, but that job and what we want to do and how much money we want to make, that's going to be the main priority.
I think it's Casey. I agree with that. Because a lot of the time that's the case, but then it's like deeper too. It's just the American culture. It's America that is pushing how you should live. And if we want to just talk about the TV, the television of, the reality TV, even the songs, I finally listened to the radio today, and I'm like, the songs are terrible. It's not even talking about marriage, right? So our kids are listening to this. Some of us are listening to it, bopping our head to it, even though some of us may not be living that lifestyle, but we're still listening to these songs. So it's more to it than that. I think that people in this society like to use the system. So they have the system in place. Some of it was to help and some of it was to destroy. So people take, okay, wow, if I get married, okay, I could divorce him and he's going to pay me alimony, right? Those type of things will make somebody do something like that because they want to use stuff because they're lazy. They don't want to work for what they can get. They don't value the things that they should be valuing. Their morals are not in place. So when you have individuals in the world that only look to use somebody, they will. So, but that's America though. And then there's other places it's not always like that. You can't just get a divorce just because you want to. You have to have a reason. You have to have witnesses and everything to, plead your case. Here, you could just, I want a divorce tomorrow. Okay, sign this, pay that, and be done with it. And another thing too, I think to answer the question, as far as Christians, right? There's Christians that are in this world that they don't, to me, read the Bible fully, but they want to be married. In the Bible, it literally says that Christ is the head of a man and the man is head of the woman. So if you look at just that alone, I think that's 1 Corinthians 11:3. If you just look at that whole chapter alone, it's showing that the man is the head of you as a lady. And we're not even looking at that, but we're, some of us are saying you're Christians, but you're not even looking at that verse to say, okay, well, I need to respect my man. But you go to church and you put on fancy clothes looking nice and respecting that. But what that verse say though? Because I'm not saying you can't respect Christ and the Lord and all that stuff, but yeah, you got to respect your man too. You have to consider everything. You have to be a wife. People are not even being wives today. So when it comes to like the question, of course, they're going to listen to their boss because that's who they're looking at as their gods. They're looking at the boss as their God. They're not looking at, your household and that, that space as into something that you want to worship and praise. They're worshiping money. So when you worship money, what comes with that? Of course, you're going to worship anything that's going to give you money instead of looking at the overall picture. Like what that girl said, the boss could fire you tomorrow. So you can't just depend on that. You should depend on your family and work collectively in that way.
Well, just so you know that husband has to be following Christ to get that respect. If he's not following Christ, then
I feel that.
I
think women just need to stop. I'm sorry for cutting you off. I just think women need to stop, and men. Matter of fact, let's make it both. Women and men need to stop getting in relationships if they're not healed yet. As some of what I do with my job, I talk to ladies, I talk to men, and a lot of times they know they're not healed yet, but they don't want to be alone. Those abandonment issues, like what Casey said, all those problems start to set in. And they're like, well, I'm not healed enough to be a good partner, but at the same time, I don't want to be alone. So I'm going to use my looks, my prestige, or whatever it is I have to offer to finesse someone into this relationship with me. And then I'm going to break them down. We're going to break up. Now that broken man is going to go to another woman, break her down, and the cycle remains. People need to just heal. Take some time to heal. Focus on God. Focus on career. Focus on school. Focus on something and heal yourself before you guys keep getting in all these partnerships and relationships. Because honestly, if your boss is constantly correcting you at your job, you're the problem. If every job you go to, you're constantly getting corrected and your relationships aren't lasting, y'all are the problem. Heal yourself, fix yourself, self-improve before you decide to hop in and decide you want marriage and kids and all of this. Like, if you can't serve God, you can't serve your man, you can't serve nobody if you can't take care of yourself at the end of the day. So yeah, I agree.
All right, let me get Paradise in there. Yeah, Sweeney.
I don't agree with nothing none of y'all said, and feel free to challenge me. I don't think a lot of y'all actually recognize what happens when you look at women in the workforce system specifically.
I don't care.
That's cool. Specifically black men. Y'all black heterosexual men are typically not in the same work environments with black women. We're typically inside doing clerical work of some degree, working in HR, working in office jobs, working in call centers, et cetera, et cetera. Y'all are typically outside, and I'm just speaking in a general analysis. So when I hear this rhetoric, first off, I hate her content. She just commented under one of my photo videos the other day, but I hate her content. I think it's very much so an attention grab, and she picked that up from Red Pill, the internet. It does not exist that black women specifically are going to work obeying their boss. If you look at how black women's work ethic is, it is fucking trash. We have a very hard time with teamwork. We rarely go to work. We overuse and abuse our benefits. You rarely see women at work, which is why so many women are digging in men's pockets and living above their means. We're robbing Peter to pay Paul.
Holy
very much
shit.
so. And when I hear this, I always counteract it. These women are not listening to their bosses. Because if you actually go to work and you actually invest into your actual job, a lot of these women would not have the financial issues that they have. It is an absolute fallacy. They're not listening to no white man and no job. They do not honor the jobs. They change jobs. They move around. They do not go to work. I am a woman who works in corporate America. I see it. I have a work ethic like a man because I've been paying bills on my own since 19. My dad had a very real conversation with me. He told me, he said, Paris, Your bills are not me and your mama's responsibility. From that point on, I had a different understanding. Most women do not have that understanding. They do not understand what it means to be quote unquote down on your dick because somebody is coming to help save them, whether it's a man they're sleeping with or they have another person around them, a homegirl or whatever, to pick up that financial burden. We know this. This is how women are getting their hair, their nails done, all this other stuff. They are supplementing their income, like Sweeney initially mentioned when we were talking about the child support. So when y'all talk about this and saying women are listening to their bosses, for one, that's a lie. That's a fallacy. A lot of women are on warnings at work. A lot of women don't go to work. A lot of women abuse and use that opportunity unless they get in trouble in order to maintain their job. They're doing just enough to stay in the door. They are not going to work working their ass off. It's no thing. No such thing.
But
Second,
Paris,
Can I hold on?
You got a point.
Hold on.
Have you ever say? Have you ever say a call center
I did
doing?
not cut none of y'all out.
Let her finish. Let her finish. You gotta finish.
One more thing that I have to say about this. If you ever pay attention to how a lot of women deal with their men in mass, do Black women have an issue with respecting Black men? Absolutely. I am the very first person to say it. We do not know what it means to respect a man. You got too many women who will get on the internet and tell their business. You got too many women who feel way too comfortable calling men bitches. However, when they're actually in a relationship with a man that they actually love, a lot of them take that whole Rochelle role at home with everybody hates Chris. I ain't gotta be here because my husband will do it. A lot of Black women weaponize their husbands. A lot of Black women are putting everybody else over everything except their husband. They lose their friendships because of their husbands. They do not know how to be a good person because of their husbands. They value it and putting everything into the man. We see it all the time. And this is where the accountability on the men kick in because you knew that woman was not in a position to follow your leadership before you married her. So while we sitting here running with this narrative, it's absolutely a myth. We have to stop that lie. Black women do not respect their bosses. They don't respect nobody.
I agree with Paris. I'm gonna be quick. I agree with Paris half, right? Because I see that same thing you talking about. These ladies out here with the worst goddamn attitude, but you talking about the women who only want less. They're settling for little jobs, mediocre jobs. That's the ones you talking about. But there are quote unquote boss chicks right out there trying to cap over a man. What about that quality of that lady?
Very small sector of the women, though. That's a very small sector. And those women are not getting married. We know that women who are six figures is a very small anomaly. Women who are also making more than the average man is also not getting married or staying married long. We know that those women actually never get married at all. If a woman has a higher form of income, she is least likely to be married, even more least likely than the demographic.
It's not just six figures though, Paris. It's not just women making six figures. They act like
no. That's not what I'm saying, Casey.
Yeah,
I'm saying when we speak about this particular situation, and I usually can hear all y'all out and have an objective standpoint. I'm telling you, the idea that Black women specifically are going to work respecting their boss more than their partners is a mythical thing. It does not exist. We do not respect anybody. Black women respect no one at all.
I agree with that.
I disagree with that.
I don't agree with it.
I completely disagree with that.
I disagree with that.
I completely disagree with that.
And I'm gonna say this.
Man, brothers, come on in.
Y'all thought I was playing.
They respect
Paris,
themselves.
do not take away from what I need and my successes I need. If that woman, that boss told her what she's supposed to be doing, she better take her behind back up to that boss and do what she's supposed to be doing. And if she ain't doing what she's supposed to be doing, I'm gonna go talk to the boss and I'm gonna ask her what she needs to be doing, and she gonna need to be doing that, because if she don't do what she's supposed to do, then we both out of a home. I need that AC bill, them utilities paid. I want my Wi-Fi. I want my snacks. I want to be that stay-at-home dad now. I want her to get what she wants. I need you, the parents, to stop getting in my way and let these ladies get what they want. I'm going to wear this dress. I told you that before. Stop getting in my way. Let them wear these pants. Let them go to work. Let them do this. Like, we have to stop holding our women back. This the hardest time in the world to be a woman. You need to like be a little patient with women. You know, you got washing machines, you got electric stove, you got a dishwasher, you got an air fryer. It's the hardest time to be a woman. I think you just being too tough on our women. You know, they went through a lot of pressure. Our women didn't have rights at one time. They ain't had a right to vote. and a lot of trauma our women are going through. Like, we have to be the man that's healing them. And if we need to come home and stay at home, and I get to play my Call of Duty and be a stay-at-home dad and just let her go to work and do what she's supposed to be doing, somebody got to go to work. And, you know, she want to go to work, let her go to work. Like, you get in the way. So honestly,
right, Ali.
let our women do what they want to do. We have to stop complaining. And if that relationship was already like that, I better commit to that. That relationship over anyway. That's what society looked like. So if I married her, I better commit harder to that. That's who I married. If she want to respect that boss over me, I am going to help her because I married her. So I'm going to commit to that. And if this is what our ladies want, Paris, let it go. Let it go. Let them have this. I want to stay home. I want to play with my PS5. And I want to stay home with the kids. And what I would really like to do, I get some more women, and I'd like to take care of some more kids, and I get a stepmama that can help me pay for my child support as well too. So you got to stop. You got to chill out with all this little pick me action you're doing a little bit right here. Respectfully, Paris, you know what I'm doing. But just let them have it, please. Let me have my happiness.
All right, let me get Trev in there. Go ahead, Trev.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure what circles you're referring to, but I can tell you, I'm in a corporate America too, and not even just from, I know it's not, I mean, most people that I know that are black women, they work hard, they're disciplined, they go to work. We can't discredit that. They're more educated now, certainly more enrolled, but they're doing it right now. There's a lot of people who are really getting theirs right now. They are moving up the corporate ladder just as men do. They getting theirs. They're making more money than they ever have. And I understand that there's some people who are trash and they're just not doing it, but that's not the overwhelming majority. And that's who we were referring to initially anyway, right? We're talking about the women who do respect their career, do respect their boss more than their significant other, whether it be their husband or whoever. So I don't want us to discredit black women to the point where we're acting like there's some bums out here, because they're not. They're doing well. A lot of them. And like I said, there's definitely some trash. But we can't make it like it's the overwhelming majority.
No, no.
I agree with that.
Our women amazing.
In what you're saying, I think you're speaking to proximity, because the same way you work in corporate America, you are a heterosexual black man. Majority of black men who work around black women in corporate America are not heterosexual. Most times black men are doing hard, skilled labor jobs. So I'm talking about in majority, even though I know you're saying in majority, I think you're speaking to proximity, because when you look at the numbers and you look at what actually happens, black women have become the most highest business entrepreneurs. We have essentially in mass, majority of us are leaving the actual corporate America. We have found another way in order to gain money. And that's due to these other exponential reasons that Casey was speaking about earlier. Like, hey, I don't really want to listen to nobody. I don't want to work. This is the mentality. So you can't avoid the mentality when we're influencing each other. A lot of black women are saying, I do not want to work for anybody. I want to be my own boss. I don't want to work. My idea of a real life is not working. I want to do what I want to do, which is why we've seen such an influx of black women being entrepreneurs. But when we have this comparison of we go to work and we respect our job, the incentive is money. A lot of women are not moved by the money at the job that requires them to work hard. But even with us getting the degrees, a lot of people are leaving their jobs. This is the generation that has the highest level of turnovers. Women have more higher employment than men, and we still show up lesser to work than men. You cannot negate none of what I'm saying just because you don't like the idea. The facts are right there.
No,
Paris, hey, one more.
I'm not speaking to hold on. I'm not speaking to proximity. I'm not speaking to proximity because although the job that I would do, 95% of women don't do. Understood. We have directors, we have supervisors, we have several chains of management, and there's a lot of black women in there that's been getting theirs and that's been moving up in the ranks. And that's not just my company. From what I do, I get to interact with other companies, is what I'm telling you. All types of businesses, right? From filthy rich to the filthy. So what I'm saying is, it's not just here, it's everywhere. It's not like you're making it seem. It's not that bad. Black women get theirs, I'm trying to tell you. And it's not just entrepreneurship. They're in the corporate America, they're in the workplace. And
this is
understood that most women definitely are taking the jobs that are more social, right? But that's a corporate setting. They're not going to be outside with it like I do, but they're definitely in a corporate setting, and that's how they're going to behave. They're going to get this. Like, when you're looking at the average span of a woman's career, they're getting it. Then you're not going to make it that long by being a complete bum. You're going to get away with not coming in for a little while. You're going to get away with coming late for a little while. But you can't maintain a career and get 10 years, 20 years like I'm watching them do. Being a bum. What's up? What's up?
One, the numbers don't even back that up. But two,
what's the number saying then? Bring them out.
Majority of black folks ain't making that kind of money, bro. But that's neither here nor there.
Bring them out. What numbers you talking about? Bring them out.
What's the numbers?
Hey, Travis,
what's the numbers? Bring them out. Bring them out.
All right. As far as income is concerned, the average black woman makes roughly $42,000. The average black man makes roughly $48,000 a year. They're not in corporate America.
That's not a grave disparity.
I'm not saying that it is. I didn't say that they wasn't doing great in comparison to men.
Money that you're talking about.
They're comparing that to all nationalities, though. Like you got white, Asian, and all that other stuff that's in that.
Even further, so now I worked for let's see, at least 4 or 5 different call centers.
Oh, really?
Worked for Navient, student loan people. Worked for Apple. I worked for Verizon. I worked for Life Touch. And I can tell you right now, that place was the most empty I've ever seen it around one specific time of the year, tax season. Motherfuckers was gone.
Did they all lose their job?
No, I'm gonna tell you the reason why though. And I'm gonna tell you this. The reason why was because most call centers go off of a occurrence type schedule, right? So what people would do is they would work a lot of overtime for 1 week just so they can get 3 or 4 days off. And then like come tax season, they would rack up 4 or 5 occurrences in a row and then come back and start trying to work overtime to gain those occurrences back. So like, I'm not sitting here saying that women ain't, that black women are the most lazy group on the planet. I'm not gonna say that, but I will say this though. We are not getting it like we claim we are. We are average ass people making average ass money. We ain't doing all this.
And that's not. We're not talking about income. We're not talking about income.
I want to give one stat.
I want to
discipline. I want to give one stat. One stat. I just want to give one stat.
Go ahead, bro.
I promise you one stat. Did y'all know? I didn't even realize this, that black women make up 28% of the enlisted percentage of black men and women. They make 28% of the military. Black men make up 16%. There's almost over 12% of black women are in the military more than black men. It's crazy. I didn't even know that.
Black men are the highest unemployed demographic, but what Sweeney is saying is essentially what I'm speaking to. When we have this conversation, this is why I say there is a myth that black women respect their boss, because most of the time we're finessing the system. We take off more. It is in the numbers that we take off more. We utilize PTO more. We use our benefits more for whatever reason. And then that adds to the fact of us having the most children as opposed to the men. Women get the benefit of having more time off and a lot of leniency with their jobs. And I say corporate America as a regular 9 to 5. That's what I mean. A regular 9 to 5 is corporate America. So I'm not just talking call centers. You can even consider Walmart corporate America based off of the hierarchy of you in it, whether you're the person who is a manager or whether you're actually working district and you sit in the office or HR. That would be classified as corporate America. So when we have this idea, nobody's saying black women are lazy. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is we know the art of finesse. I have worked around a lot of black women. A lot of black women will tell you working with other black women, it's like the worst thing in the world because we have domineering behavior the same way y'all see us integrate into society with the men dating this, that, and the third. We're dealing with that every single day, dealing with them firsthand, working under their leadership. And then it's so crazy because a lot of people would tell you, well, how can she tell me how to do my job and she barely come and do hers? We sit here and we listen to all these things regurgitated online. It is absolutely not the truth. You can sit with a black woman, she will tell you she lost her friend for a man. But if you talk to her about a job, first thing she's going to say is, fuck that job. They'll replace me in a minute. So the idea that we sitting here trying to make it seem like we pride all listening to white men, no, we don't. We feel the same way about them. Run that check.
That's what they say. They say
It's
prepare the
crazy,
others, right?
See,
You know
the
what's
only
crazy?
thing
though?
only thing I'll say about that is Ali was the only one who brought some numbers up here for something that we could actually address in it, right? He brought up the numbers about the military, but I want to ask you, how much finessing do you think that they could get off in the military, and how much do you think that they could not understand the hierarchy and get away with at that particular job?
The military is something totally different. I don't even count the military. But when he mentioned the military, he was basically saying like it's more women enlisted, but it's more women enlisted because Black men have the highest unemployment group. If you look into something so simple as tech, Black women do not outnumber anybody in tech. It's primarily dominated by Asians and Indians, and then Black
STEM
men
in general, yeah.
Period, right? And that's one of the most highest forms of payment. But what I'm saying is we love to talk this big dollar shit. Black women do not make more than Black men. Black women only make more than Hispanic men and Asian women and Hispanic women. And then when we sitting here talking about the respect factor, it does not show up in our job. We have a lot of Black women who will go to work as a need to basis. I need to keep this job, so I'm gonna show up as long as I can and beat the system and make it look good for X amount of time. But if I need to take off, a lot of mentality is my child comes first. They'll figure somebody out. PTO, prepare the others. We live by this. When they see all of these women in an influx of the business ownership, you know who was running them credit schemes, and you know who was putting on everybody selling them ebooks? It was Black women in the surplus of the pandemic. We mitigated a lot of them funds, and that's how we became the biggest business owners. We don't want to work for nobody. So y'all got to stop this lie that we sitting up here taking all of this information from them bosses. Because let me tell you something. If we was actually doing what we were supposed to do in them jobs, a lot of these small businesses, entrepreneurs would be flourishing. They bad at customer service all the way around. It does not exist with the respect. It's not there. It's a myth.
Cass, was you clone?
I don't know. I'm just trying to figure out what's going on. Somebody in the chat said,
"Boy, you got some fire, boy."
Somebody said, in the chat said, who hurt you, boo?
I'm not hurt. It's just the point that I don't agree. Like, nothing hurt me, but this is a lie, and we have to stop the lie. Like, I think we be so dedicated to certain things that don't exist, but when you're sitting here looking at it, even with the numbers, it does not prove it.
But
Look,
Paris, I also feel like when it comes down to the numbers.
Hold on.
Wait,
what's the numbers?
Hold on, y'all. Hold on. Trev said he wants to see those numbers. He said put the link in the back chat for him. He wants to see these numbers that you speak on everything you're talking about.
Paris, I agree. You talking about like work ethics. Like I get that. But when it comes to the work ethics and then saying that they don't respect their boss, I'm trying to see like how does that relate? Because they still go to work regardless if they use all their PTO and all this stuff that you're talking about. They're just using and finessing the system, like what I mentioned earlier. People in this world use what they can. That's just how it goes. But how does that take away from them not respecting the boss since
because
they still go to work?
Most Black, just because I get up and go to my job, that's my responsibility. That does not mean that I'm sitting there in the workforce system creating a copacetic relationship with my boss or working directly with my boss. If anything, especially when you know that you're not in love with a job, we're trying to avoid them because you don't want to be on somebody's radar. And again, all you got to do is use common sense in this dynamic. You see the behavior versus a person who just made it there and they like the job and they're cool with the money versus the person who feel like they could be doing something else. You see the behavior on people when they first get entered into the job. And during orientation, you see the difference in the work ethic. That work ethic definitely transmit to the incentives that they want to take. Everybody don't want to move up the ladder. Everybody does not work to get the incentive of being promoted. And a lot of times Black women, the first thing we say is, oh, we got to work 4 times harder than everybody. When you sit there and you compare work ethic to a person who is showing up every day and a person who actually wants to succeed in their job, they create a relationship with their boss. They want to be seen by their boss. Just because you're not cussing a motherfucker out every time you walk in the door, does not mean you respect them people. Because if you respected them, it would show up in the productivity. We're not making all this great production. That's just not the honest truth.
I agree to that. I'm just saying that like it makes sense, but then it's like, you know, if you got the mindset of people thinking that working is like slaves, you slaving for a job, You know, people not going to go to work and just love what they're doing. They have to have a passion into what they do, which means they have to choose and figure that out. And some people don't figure that out till they're about 35, 40 years old. So before that, they're going to work for a job and use it until they get to where they want to be. But that's just another topic. That's how I'm looking at it. But that's it.
That don't correlate
that's
to
true.
respect. What I'm saying is we have this idea that we going to work kissing ass and being in these people's face, and then we go into office events and we kicking it with all of their functions. We're not doing it. You know who you see integrated in all those overhead functions? White women are running them. It's not black women. The moment that we get an opportunity to be off, we are off. We stay away from the office kiss ass. We stay away from the woman who is doing all of that extra shit because she's probably the woman who's making our life harder. It's very rare that you get a lot of good sisters in corporate America who got your back. We all can talk about that experience. So to sit here and say that we are going to work respecting these people, white men are not always our boss. Let's be clear. We work under white women. We work under other black women, and we work under black men. And a lot of times, when we're not the pretty privileged presenter, we're trying to get the hell away from around them. We're doing everything we can to go to work and mind our business. That's what a lot of black women mentality is. I ain't come here to make no friends. So why are we sitting here trying to output the fact that we respect these people so much? No, we don't.
You know what's crazy?
That's not what I really. That's not what I really spoke to was the respect factor. But they just understand the duty, right? Main things that I mentioned was they prepare for it. They go to school for it, right? That's what I was talking about, right? They're prepared for it. They know how to conduct themselves. They do dress a certain way. If you don't do these things, you get fired. So they are doing them. They're doing them. Oh. They're going to work every day and they're performing their responsibilities, right? The work functions. They're doing it, and that's all I'm saying. They're doing it. They're doing what they're supposed to do. They're handling responsibilities. Begrudging or not,
talking about two different sides of the black community. I really think that we cannot smash the two together. We're literally talking about two different sides of our community. Paris is right. Trev is right. Lady Di is right. Like, we're not talking about the same economic group of women. We're not. And we have to realize that.
Anomaly, though. Let's be clear. That's not the majority.
Anomaly? It's an anomaly of black women who go to work and work?
I think it's the hood rats who switch jobs every month, every other month.
That's not true. That's not true.
It's true. I think the women who do have something to fall back on, like assistants, they try to go to work. They don't want to work. They see they're making too much for the assistants. They drop the job. Then they get tired of staying at home, so they may go get another job. I think now what I will say is, like my job, I'm the only black woman. I'm the only one.
Me too.
Okay. So I will say
Wait a minute. Hold up. No.
Hold on, Swing. Let her finish. Can
you say it again? I didn't.
Hold on, y'all. Let Precious.
So I think the population of women who don't, want to go to work are the people that are either waiting on a man to pay their bills, or they waiting on the system to continue to pay their bills.
That's it. Mm-hmm.
But that's not all black women. That's the, like Casey was saying, the economic level of.
Hold on, let her finish. Let her finish.
Don't even lead in.
I've never had a black woman boss ever. It's always been a white man. So whatever jobs that these women are going after, they know they're not going to be there long anyway. They're not going there for a career. They're going to work a job. They're not trying to have a career. They're not trying to take care of anybody else but themselves. And again, when they don't feel like taking care of themselves, they rely on somebody else or some other entity to do it for them.
Explain the nurses, Precious, because we got a lot of black women who happen to be in the nursing sector. And you go to work, you go to school, and you prepare to be a nurse. And we see now that a lot of black women went to the nursing field today for the money. We've seen an influx of it during the pandemic. This is how I know y'all not actually thinking of this from an objective standpoint, because even you would be an anomaly. The fact that you're the only black person, the only black woman in your office sector, the diversity culture has increased. You're an anomaly, baby. That ain't even something common today. So to even say that, you can't even speak from the experience that I have had. I have worked under black women, white men, black men, and white women. I have had a wide range of bosses. I have worked in every sector that you can think of, from retail to correctional facility to current in corporate America, where I have a license. So I get to see dealing with people with disabilities and all these other things. Throughout the duration of my workforce experience, I can absolutely tell you that there is a very minute number, educated or not, of Black women who are getting over on the system once they learn it. We get complacent. We're no different than anybody else. But the idea that we're going into these jobs, working so hard, that is an absolute lie when we discovered that these motherfuckers are getting paid more than us to do less.
Hold on, wait a minute. All right. Wait.
Was,
What? How many of y'all are the only ladies? How many of y'all are the only Black women in y'all office?
I'm the only one that runs my program, so
for me, it's just my degree. Most Black women don't do what I like. I'm in finance, so
only Black woman in your office practically. What about you, Casey?
My direct boss is a Black woman.
And
I'm the only one of my age group Black. There's other Black women, but they're twice my age.
What field are they in though?
Right, field
HR recruiting.
All right, HR is very heavyweight. Yeah, there's a lot of sisters in that. Yeah, we in there, but like
3
all right.
under a Black woman.
Yeah,
and this is not. I don't want to go into too much detail, but it's not a regular HR setting, recruiting setting. But go ahead.
But Paris is right. But here's the thing with Paris, though. I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna be real with y'all. That's Black folks in general. It ain't even just Black women. Brothers, we doing that shit. There's niggas up in the goddamn office doing the same shit. When I say that the office was empty, I wasn't just saying Black women were the ones ditching the job on the time. We was all milking the system. That was
no Black men in the office.
Like, I'm just talking like, because when like I said, I worked in the bottom, like I worked in it where you only got paid like $10 to $15 an hour jobs. You know what I mean? Before I became a barber. So that's where we mostly congregate at. We was all going through call center. I'm from Middle America, Indiana. We was bouncing from call center to call center, and you will see the same person, and you'll be and you get fired, and for 6 months you'll wait, and then you'll go work at another call center, and you come right back to that call center job 6 months later. And I'm gonna tell you this right now, Paris is right, but that wasn't just women, it was all of us. We all figure out a way to work the system. We all figure out a way to get the most time off and still try to either get paid for it, or we'll rack up occurrences when we need them. We're the first ones to call off. The last one, we the first ones to get, if the clock strikes our time to get off of the work, we leaving, going home.
Would you say like everybody had COVID too, right? To get the time off?
Everybody had COVID. Like I'm being for real. Like, she's not lying. I work with regular Black folks. And
everybody milked the COVID, bro. Everybody milked the COVID.
When I say that, if your shift said you started at 8 and you was off at 11, the boss couldn't even come over there and tell you to stay to 10. I'm off at I said you off at 11. They couldn't come over there and tell you to stay through midnight. I'm going home. I'm clocking out. We weren't working like that's the reality of the situation. And I'm just talking about the general Black population. I'm not talking about people who are up, you know what I mean, up there, you know what I mean, because those are far and few between.
I just don't like the idea of this myth that we respect this idea of work. No, we don't. Like, and it's not necessarily a bad thing. And I'm happy Sweeney did bring in the men, even though the conversation was solely talking about Black women, or we made it about Black women. I just want us to stop this lie that we have all of this unorthodox respect for these workforce industries, regardless if we're going to get the profession or not. Because what we see today is, even with the women who are going to get the professions, a lot of times we're using the benefit of tuition reimbursement to go and do our own thing. We have seen a high influx of Black women become business owners because we don't want to work for nobody. That does not translate into respect.
Look, I think y'all framed the conversation wrong, right? Like, y'all talking about jobs and stuff like that, and yeah, in jobs they don't, everybody's gonna try to finesse, but I feel like what the conversation is really about is about status, right? The conversation is really about when women are in positions that they believe comes with a certain level of status, they then treat that position or whatever's paying them the income at a higher status level than they're treating their man, right? So y'all are talking about like call center jobs and jobs where you can finesse, and that's cool, but respectfully, that's not real corporate America. In real corporate America, there's no finessing. Like you finesse at jobs, you finesse at call centers, you finesse at UPS. You don't finesse at Goldman Sachs. You're not finessing at JP Morgan. You're not finessing at Chase Corporate. You're not finessing at VP of Citibank.
That's
What
right.
do you think networking is? Networking is the art of finesse. You absolutely are.
I understand.
You can't finesse your job.
Yes,
right,
you
but
can.
or you'll get fired.
what I'm saying is,
depending on the type of job you
high
have. It
status
depends on the type of
careers.
job you have.
We're talking about women with high status careers, right? So I don't feel like this applies to women with jobs. This applies to women with high status careers.
I don't think
that would be the anomaly.
It's
Like
the women with high status
anomalies.
It's not an anomaly. I'm gonna tell you why it's not an anomaly, right?
What percentage of black women work in high status jobs?
Wait, let him finish.
Why it's not an anomaly is because even though the woman herself might not be in a high status position, that doesn't mean that the person she's employed by is in high status. So what we're really talking about is like if the person she's employed by is considered high status, then that's where you find the discrepancy where they tend to respect that person of high status more than their partner. So it's not any boss, obviously. If the manager of the call center don't got really no status, he driving an Altima just like y'all. But when the manager is driving a Benz and goes to trips to Bora Bora and whatever, and he's getting $250 a year, yeah, that's somebody with status. And best believe a lot of men are gonna have difficulty with their woman respecting Chad that's flying out to Bora Bora every weekend more than her husband that's a plumber. So yes, it has to do with status. I don't think it's just about the position of job, but you cannot say and act like black women of all women don't respect status.
Clout. Majority of the call centers I worked in, the owner probably was in the same room.
Call center, it's not a high-end job. That's what he's talking about.
No, he said. Wait. He said
I worked in a call center before, and the owner was barely making it. Like, what are we talking about? Like the call center owner was barely clearing 150, 120 a year. Like, what are we even talking about? Like that's not corporate America. I'm sorry. Like, call centers pop up and close down all over. When we talking corporate America, we talking VPs, we talking Fortune 500s. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I agree with
access to VPs.
I agree with that.
Listen, I don't know the black women that y'all know. Listen, respectfully, I don't know the black women that y'all know. Respectfully, but the black women I know is getting to that.
Who cares about the black women you know? What percentage of black women got access to VPs?
But the percentages, you keep mentioning the percentages. You got to also look at how many of the percentages are hidden because they don't want them to see.
Listen, it is not hard for a woman to have a boss that is higher status than her partner. Like, come on, let's be realistic here.
No, that's not my point.
It is not hard. She could be. It don't matter. It's not hard.
But the percentage is also you gotta
have access to VP. One at a time.
Sweetie, you said you had numbers, right? Paris, you said you had numbers.
What number would you like?
At?
What number would you like?
What's the percentage of women that's going ahead and getting these careers? Both of y'all was talking about numbers. I just want to know what they are.
We know simply by pay scale that majority of black folks don't earn that type of money. What percentage of them got access to
You don't have to earn that type of money.
It doesn't matter. We're talking about a hierarchy. We're not talking about, you keep trying to make it money. We're talking about a hierarchy.
So who are we talking about?
A hierarchy.
A hierarchy of who?
A hierarchy.
Of who?
Listen, if you work in a bank, right?
And the woman, the boss and the woman.
If your wife works in a bank and there's one investment banker in there making $500,000 a year, that's a status conflict. Like, you can't act like just because she's not an investment banker herself, and she ain't gonna run into them at the bank. Like, what are we even talking about here?
Bro.
That's what we're talking about. Bro. She's seeing that guy who's the investment banker.
You're talking about a woman being a teller, having access to the investment banker in the building, bro. You walk in a bank, there's only 3 tellers in the bank. What are we talking about?
I don't know what banks you go to.
The biggest employer of black folks is the post office.
Y'all want to play in my face? I went and got the numbers, and I pulled up status of women data.org. The lowest earning state is Mississippi. And so if you didn't know, now you know. Because I done did this before. I done ran this rigmarole. Mississippi, the average black woman is making $25,000 a year. If you also did not know, the DC area is the highest earning income area of Black people. And with the DC area, which is primarily orchestrated of a lot of high-powered Black women, the highest income level of a Black woman is $64,210. That's on average. They're not making the money. They're not in the areas. You guys are liars, and you're bad at it.
No,
But here we go. But wait, time out. Before we do that, that's not what we asked for. We knew about the income. I know about the incomes. I know Mississippi, bro. I know that, but that's not what I asked for. We didn't ask for that.
64,000 is still several thousands above the national average.
Women who are not in the position, because even 64,000 in DC, the average Black married couple makes 67,000. So a Black woman in DC, the highest earner, is approximately making on average 64,000. Doesn't mean that there are not women in DC. That does not mean that there are not women in DC making over 100K, but that's on average if she's the average individual. Even with that, she's still under the poverty line. It takes over 100K to live in DC. And even with that, she's still making $3,000 lesser than a married Black couple on average. So even with you saying what you said, you are working around an anomaly, because we're speaking to average women. The average Black woman is going to work. The average Black woman is getting married. The average Black woman is not giving her boss more respect. The average Black woman is not in these corporate VP settings that you are prioritizing over them being in Walmart.
Why is that?
See, that's what you're making it. Why you keep making that? You keep bringing up the numbers, but it doesn't matter, because those aren't the numbers that we needed. We're talking about a hierarchy.
Let Trev respond. Go ahead, Trev.
I was talking about a hierarchy. We're not talking about how much a person makes. A person could be working at the fast food store, and the dude that's up there, he's the manager. She could respect that manager. She could respect that. Just you making it seem like if somebody's not making $100,000 a year, they're not going to have a respect for their job. That doesn't make any sense. Some people love their job. When I was making $7 an hour, I had respect for my job, and nobody can't tell me different. That's what I'm talking about. You bringing up these numbers means nothing, because that's not what we were asking for. We're talking about a hierarchy, not monetarily. That's what you're getting at.
And y'all, we keep using the word respect. Respect is nowhere in the bottom. There's nowhere. There's no like. Why we keep using the word about respecting the boss? Like, it's about. It says if a woman's boss at work says she needs to do better and correct her actions, it has nothing to do about respect. So Black people, Black women can be disrespectful or not have this utmost respect for their boss, but they're going to correct their action to keep their career or their job going, is what I was saying.
It's about behavior. It's not about the respect level they have in their mind and their heart. Nobody gives a rat's ass about that. It's about what they actually doing. Their man will ask them not to wear something, and they'll say, nigga, you can't tell me what to wear. But their boss tells them at Burger King, wear the blue apron on Fridays instead of the red ones. And guess what? They showing up with the blue apron on for that $7.25 an hour, because they respect their boss more than they respect the man.
And that's still not true. Do you know how many Black women argue and complain about the fact that we are discredited and we have a prejudice against us in the workforce system because we will go to work with a certain color hair and get told about and pulled into the office, dragged over.
You just said an example of it last week.
But y'all, they're still gonna show up and they're gonna leave their man, but they're gonna keep that job.
That is not true.
They ain't got men to begin with.
Or if they quit that job, they're gonna get another job.
Because they told them that they did not like they called.
But
we just seen it last week. The girl just challenged the whole job.
They'll leave the man, but they're gonna keep that paycheck. They gonna leave the man, but they gonna keep that paycheck.
She got online and tried to convince us that what she had on was appropriate because they told her at the job it was inappropriate. Instead of her trying to actually go and change her outfit, working at Home Depot, working in a regular job.
She was working at Home Depot.
No, time out. I spoke to that girl. I spoke to her. She was within the code. She was within the code.
No, she wasn't, bro. Even her boss.
Yes, she was.
She wasn't. Even her boss.
What she had wrong? What did she do wrong?
Her boss.
How was she out of code? How was she out of code?
Challenged the job. That's what I'm saying. She did correct the action. Even if she was in the code, the job said this is inappropriate.
Don't wear those
we
pants.
talked about the teachers. We have seen it with the teachers. The teachers were getting criticized because of them having a figure, and they were saying, oh, she was too tight. We sent her home. We told her she shouldn't come back with this on. And they will get online and tell us, hey, don't you think this wrong? There's nothing wrong with my outfit. I
They're
cannot
not
have
changing
my
their
figure.
outfit.
No, Daddy.
Because there wasn't nothing
They're
wrong
not
with
changing
it.
their outfit.
Baby, they doing it on IG and on TikTok. They making videos, but best believe when they clock back in at work, it's with the right pants on.
No,
Well,
they're
we
not.
can't-
We're
you- we
seeing
can't-
it every day.
They're gonna
Hold on,
get
wait. As a
still
She
matter of
wasn't.
fact, as a matter
She
of
wasn't
fact,
wrong. She wasn't wrong in that case.
whether she was wrong or not, she didn't correct the behavior. She didn't say,
You
okay,
can't
sir.
correct behavior if you're not in the wrong.
Well, they thought she was.
She wasn't in the
said
wrong. She was
wasn't.
in the code.
But they said she wasn't. It doesn't matter what she thinks. They
I
said
saw the
she
dress
wasn't.
code, dude. She wasn't out of dress
I'm not
code.
saying,
She wasn't out of dress
saying
code.
that. It's not. That's not the point I'm trying to make. The point I'm trying to make is they said she wasn't, and she didn't correct the behavior. She didn't say, "Oh, I'm going to wear what they need me to wear." She ran. Hold on, wait. She ran a TikTok. Said, "Look out!"
Because it was discrimination.
Hold on, wait. They said
just because
look at how-
you respect the job, you can't get discriminated against.
Okay.
You can't be
And guess
discriminated
what?
against.
She
You're
quit
not
the
gonna.
job.
You're not gonna do that.
Did she quit the job? Did
You
she go
can't
back
use
to work
that-
away what they asked her to wear? No. She said, "Fuck that job."
You can't use that example then.
We've said this ain't.
Yeah, she was being discriminated against, and you can't use that.
Go back to the teacher, or go back to the girls who were getting fired for their braids. Go back to all of these other examples and these nuances because y'all playing in my face. That's what y'all doing.
That's
Y'all
discrimination.
They're not.
But
But
even
And there's
with the
literally a law.
parents,
There's
even with
literally the Crown Act against that right now. That's
Now.
discrimination.
That's how long
Why
we
should
had
you
to
stand for
fight it.
discrimination?
There was so many black women who saying if a job does not mean not let me wear what I want to wear.
I'm not going.
The job. We do it all the time. Y'all
Because
are
they were
lying.
discriminating against a culture, and
So
you
that
can't
must
do
mean-
that.
so
Let me ask you something.
Trail.
Let me ask you
I
something,
understand
Paris.
Hold on, Clark.
you're saying that there's discrimination present. Although I can understand that, what we're saying is they were told to correct their behavior. They chose not to correct the behavior, regardless of what their standing was. They have every right to feel and vindicate it. The job said one thing, the black women counteracted it. We have seen it multiple times. We have several different instances. We have literally seen a girl go and set up a skit where she is punching in at home and telling these people, oh, when I start getting up to brush my teeth and prepare myself, I'm already
And you should have read the comments.
Wait,
You should've read
wait.
the comments.
Yeah, but that now,
now,
but Paris, what you're doing right now is you're talking about anomalies. The reason why that video went viral is because it's an anomaly. So now it's okay to talk about anomalies, I guess.
you
That
read the
doesn't make
comments?
any sense.
Did you read
Huh?
the comments?
Let me say
Did you read the comments
something.
under the
No,
video?
I didn't.
Most
I
of
didn't
the
read
women
comments. Go
were
ahead.
agreeing
Lady
with it.
Gaga now. The Lady Gaga now. We gotta start to
What?
bring this to a close, y'all.
I just want to ask one question though. Like,
Hold up. Wait.
how many times have we heard women saying about how, like, yo, for 10, 15 years of my career, I had to wear my hair a certain way because this type of style wasn't acceptable in the field that they were working in.
Well, let me get to that.
We understand that women for generations have adjusted, right, to be able to keep their jobs when it comes to dress style, when it comes to hairstyle specifically. But let men say, I want y'all wearing this type of hairstyle. Do you think the same adjustment is happening like it's happening in corporate America? Absolutely not. So that's
and this is
exactly
why.
what the video is talking about. It's talking about that experience in society, experience that you have tons of women that can relate to the idea of having to wear their hair straight or wear their hair a certain way for their job, but they don't have the same experience as saying they had to wear their hair natural to get a man.
That's not the
And this
All right,
is the reason
hold
why
tight, y'all. Hold tight. We're gonna let Lady Dad go. We're gonna close this out with Layla and Ali because I know they didn't really speak. So if they want to add something to it, and then we get to the super chats to get to the main topic. Go ahead, Lady Dad.
So the reason why is because some of the jobs that Paris and Sweeney is talking about, some of those jobs don't have great benefits. They don't have great pay. But the jobs that do, women, or we're talking about women will do what they have to do to keep that good paying job. If you want to talk about the military, I think Ali brought up the military. There's a dress code. There's a everything code for you to have your hair a certain way. It has to be a certain length. You can't do this. You can't do that. And women are following that. You follow where, like, if it fits you. I mentioned benefits because benefits is a big part into how someone takes care of their responsibilities at work. They would do everything they have to do to keep it. So you're talking about jobs that don't mean shit. That's what I'm saying. You talking about jobs that, okay, well, if they lost their job, it ain't gonna matter. It ain't do much for them anyway. They shouldn't be working there. So it does matter about where you're working and how the status and all this stuff that Clout was talking about, Layla was talking about, Trev was talking about. It matters because that's how people really take their job serious. If you have a serious ass job, some of these jobs ain't serious enough to even be caring about. So yeah, you could quit and go get another job tomorrow, but you would never quit a good job. Never. You will do what you have to do and make it
Hold
work
on.
and respect that boss.
All right, let's go to Layla. We gotta close this out, y'all. Let's go to Layla and Ali. You want to add anything, Layla?
Yeah, I agree with what Lady just said, and I stand by my point. Again, I feel as though my initial point was if you're dealing with someone, you're in a relationship with someone, respect your partner. If you can't respect your partner, is what it is. When it comes down to status, when it comes down to what jobs offer and respecting a boss over your person at home, honestly, at the end of the day, it just comes down to respect of authority. If you're claiming someone as your partner, your husband, your wife, your whatever you're doing, you should respect them in the same sense as you respect the person at your job, because ultimately they're both going to be the person. Well, the job provides benefits, possibly whatever. As Lady said, if you have a job that does provide those benefits and stuff, you're going to go out of your way to make sure you're satisfying your boss. And if you're coming home and you have a partner who is making sure you're taken care of and you're being held down, respect your partner as well. If you're not happy with the person you're dealing with and you think they're beneath you, then you should just not be dealing with them. Then just focus on work, your career, what you're doing. But ultimately, what it really comes down to, in my opinion, is all about, as I said, it's just really about stop picking people that you feel are beneath you. Stop picking people you think are beneath you and just work a partnership like you're supposed to.
All right, go ahead, Ali.
I mean, they said a lot. All I can say is, man, until actual leadership is implemented, we all come together. Until we go to Congress, until we go to the courthouse to make some real changes, this is what's going to be happening every single day. Until we can take control of each other, whether we want to be connected to this nation or have a sovereign nation, or let women have their own little nation, or let men have their own little nation, or let men and women who want to have a nation have a nation. Until we address that, this ain't gonna change nothing, because we're gonna just keep doing this right here.
All right. I got you, Sweeney. I know you, Sweeney. You gonna say something?
We got an AK-47 and a bazooka.
This is just between me and Lady Di. I just got one question. That lady that we just watched in that video, do you think she was talking to black women in general, or just the black women who have high-paying jobs? Or do you think she was speaking of black women in general, or just black women in high-paying positions?
She was talking about all women.
Okay. So what we have here, that means that she was speaking to also the average black woman. And the reality is that the average black woman is exactly who me and Paris described as far as work. Now, I don't know about the whole work ethic thing. I ain't talking about. I'm just saying most black people got regular paying jobs. They are the call centers. They are the Home Depots. They are the ones that typically work in the post office. You know what I mean? These are the black women that we're talking about. So when they say things like, oh, black women respect their bosses more than they respect their men at home, she's talking about those black women too. And that's just simply not true. They could give a rat's ass about their job just as much as they can give a rat's ass about a man.
But whose fault? Okay, this conversation gonna go too long. Whose fault is that to have a mediocre job? Like, that's on them. They want to pick mediocre jobs. Like, it don't matter.
Mediocre jobs and mediocre
Nah, I
men.
know that's all you wanted to say. You gonna cause ruckus over here. Yeah, just tune in. Welcome to Lapeef. Let's talk. Make sure you hit the like button. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Hopefully, you guys are enjoying the show. We're about to get into the main topic, but before we do, let me go through these super chats. T.O. also man 499 says, honestly, a lot of women of today power hungry. Their mindset to get out of the house and pay me. HO3 like a pimp. If anything, that could just submit to a man. Average man $10 says, amazes me that most of the women who do this are Christian believers in the world of God. Straight up hypocrisy, in my opinion. Casey. $20. A woman has a job to provide her own survival, and a financial windfall is not supposed to heavily utilize in a relationship with a man. She knows respect for her man. Doesn't pay the bills, the job does. AP accountability partner with the $20 says not in my job description. What I ain't gonna do. Black women treat both equally disrespectfully. They entitled. They report you to HR so that you can't retaliate. Women not falling in line for anyone. Sharon D. Berry. Most Christians do not have biblical marriages. That is a major problem. Pastors aren't teaching that. AP accountability partner, $20 says Paris. Yes. The will. The 49.99 said it's not true, JR. From a Christian perspective, wife's respect for her husband is not dependent on the relationship with Christ. If he's not right for Christ, then Christ will deal with him. She still has a duty to the man she voluntarily married.
Hey, JR, can I say something real quick to that? Real fast,
Yeah,
just
sure.
fast, I swear. How many of us actually following Jesus
Most
or
of us
following the
don't.
Bible anymore? It's
Most
crazy.
of us don't.
But that's all I want to say.
We only bring up the Bible when it comes to what we want somebody to do for us. That's the only time. That's when people want to start quoting the Bible, when you talk about what the
It's
opposite sex need to
mind-blowing.
do.
I'm
Outside
in
of that,
church Sunday. God is good to me.
Yeah. Trigger Mike $5 says Sub family had to tune in when I saw Ali brought out the telemarketing headset he's about to sell to a whale.
$9.99.
And one $5 says, what corporate American jobs are black women working that they're not around heterosexual black men? I'm sure many would not count as corporate. Lauren Mack says people in general have to realize these companies do not care about their employees. So yes, prepare the others. Original everything else, carbon copy $10 says do not agree with Paris. I read that black women are the hardest working women because many black women do not have husbands to support them. So they have to work more than any other race. Trigger Mike again says $10. Also consider their longevity in these careers. The average female corporate lawyer quits after 5 years or less. Undergrad was 4 years, law school was 4 years, clerk for 2 years, and quit in 5. Shaking my effing head. Busy formerly Baby Zai $2 says give Paris 2 emojis. Lapeef. Original everything else carbon copy $10 says also most black women respect white men more because they know these white men have less compassion and will get rid of them quicker. Most of the time, men have more compassion for their own women. Original everything else carbon copy $2 says I work my behind off since 16. Tired now. What's that say? Like Azrael? First of his name, 499. I am in accounting. I have friends that work at the Big Four and Fortune 500s. You can't finesse in that field. When black women are in corporate, it's usually secretarial. And saying you want $5 says, where does she get the average for DC? Because DC is not just DC. It's my DMV area. Shaking my head. That's why I'm moving there. And most jobs are government related. Trigger Mike $5 says $100K per year is the goal until you make $100K a year. After mortgage, daycare, car notes, insurance, and activities, that money is gone, baby. Caesar's Palace $5 says Paradise keep standing strong with Trev and Cloud is trying to move the goalpost and are completely wrong.
I'm with you, Paris.
Correct.
I'm with you.
Making them look silly. Caesar Palace $2 says Paradise, Trev and Cloud are terrorists. Jasmine J. Psych. Sky, 199. Military women definitely conform. 9 years. And Doug Will, $5 says, I understand most Christians don't follow the Bible, but if you're gonna quote it right. I want to thank everybody that has contributed to the platform thus far. Hit the like button. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Shout out to the sponsor again, T Channel Uncomplicated Skincare for Men. 30% off along with a free gift. Look at them goodies. You got the wash, the AM, super serum, eyes, clay mask. They got all type of stuff. Look at the sponge. We got a male sponge for you guys. So if you don't want to use a towel, you got that little spongy thing for you. Lotion, deodorant, lip balm. Got everything, man. I just got something today that was pretty cool, man. I can't wait to try it out. With that being said, let's go ahead and dive into it. Is there any hurt feelings reports need to be filled out at this point? There's a lot of screaming going on. A lot of people, tones were elevating. Some people said they was offended in the back chat. I don't know if you guys saw that.
Can I get some flowers?
We're professionals.
Am I allowed to get flowers? And a lot of time people say we be negative towards the women sometimes. Can I get some flowers real quick?
There you go, Ali. There go your
Ali, you
flowers.
have done so good tonight. I'm
Hey, Miss Paris,
super chat.
you are one of the best female panelists. I'm gonna be honest with you that I come across, like in my entirety of everything that I in this or outside of this. I mean, Precious laid it out. You know who they are. I'm not familiar with Miss Casey and Miss Layla, but I don't know what. I don't know if you got cloned. I don't know if you was doing something 2, 3, 4.
They got you, Ali. They said you got cloned.
No, Ali. What happened was your initial engagement with me. You counted me out.
I didn't do nothing to you.
You was looking to disagree with me. You wasn't.
No, I wasn't. We were listening. Everybody was listening to what you're saying. How you are right now?
My game, shouty. You've been.
I know. I see that. See, I got you though. I got you now, Paris. But Paris, I'm gonna give you flowers right now. You're an amazing panelist.
Hey, real quick, Ali, and here's the one thing that I've.
No, sweetie, you're not gonna do that real quick thing. No, you always do that, and I know how it goes.
I just want to make sure I get these stats cleared up because he said he quoted the stat. He quoted it wrong.
Travis ready. He watching you.
No, this is just between me and Ali. This ain't got nothing to do with that.
That's what you said last time.
I did something.
Yeah, it's just between us two.
What I do?
All right.
Oh,
so regarding the military comment, I just wanted to clarify one thing. When they say that black women represent 28% of the military, that is just only amongst women. They're not 28% of the entire military. Just like black men only represent 16% of all men in the military. Just so we can clear that up. Just wanted to clear that up.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Sweeney. He ready to look. He ready to respond.
Hey, John, make sure they know Trev and Sweeney love each other. Like we tight, always tight. We had these intentional conversations all the time. They might be thinking they battling, but we tight brothers.
Yeah. No,
just so y'all know, Ali's change in opinion and perspective was due to a conversation me and him had last week.
Okay.
Nah.
Let's go again.
You just thanked me earlier today.
All right, the main topic of the night is there are two groups of women, wives and everything else. Two groups of women, wives and everything else. You guys agree? Anybody disagree? Layla, you good?
I was massaging my shoulder.
Okay. All right. Do y'all agree? Disagree? What?
I mean, a wife and other women.
Okay.
So are you saying? So basically,
we wait for you to play the video, JR. The video behind us, right?
We need the video.
I'm trying to switch it up, man, because y'all have become too reliant on the video. So I thought
now we spoiled the video. Spoiled us.
I thought we could have a natural, organic conversation just with a scroll across the screen. So I was just trying to challenge y'all.
Well,
you know?
I think being a wife is something it's not something that you pick up and you put down. You don't take it off. You act like a wife, and despite your behavior or the experiences that you have had in one relationship or two, if it was bad, even if you go into the third one, you still inherently transmit those qualities. It don't stop just because, oh, he treated me bad. No, if you a wife, you always act like a wife. You always carry yourself like a wife, but you have to be the wife for the right man. If he don't see it, he not your husband. That's just what it is. He who finds the wife finds the good thing. You don't get to decipher if you get that ring, but what you do get to decipher is the behavior that transmits to getting the ring.
Okay, let me go ahead and play the clip, man. I just
go ahead, Paris.
You know, next week I'm gonna have no clips. We're just gonna straight off the top of the dome.
Oh,
okay. They go to clip, man, and it comes from The Godfather. So let me go ahead and play this.
What are women being told to do? Be sexually liberal in your, do what you want to do, date who you want to, hook up with who you want to. And here's my thing. There are two groups of women, wives and everything else. Wives and everything else. And if you're a woman that knows you want to be a wife, you need to act like a woman who's going to be a wife one day, because you're going to be judged as, you're going to be evaluated as such. There's no, I was young and dumb and I did this, I did that. Look, that game is over. Men are pulling your cat facts. They're running your background and saying, there's no way in hell I'm going to be on partner track at a law firm, and I'm going to deal with you, and you used to date Nug Nug, or you used to do this, or you used to do that. Nope, you make me look bad. But let's stick in the middle. Focus on yourself. And what are we telling? We're telling women who got communication degree, criminal justice, social workers, teachers, women who are in that mushy middle. 74% of black women make less than $50,000. We're telling these women to delay relationship and marriage. For what? You ain't making no real money. I was talking to a woman the other day. I was like, how much money do you think you need to have stacked away to make marriage a safe proposition? She said, $100,000. $100,000. Now, I want you guys to look at this. Let's just, for simple math, round up 37,000 to 40,000. That's a big jump. That's almost a 10% raise. But for simple math, let's say the average woman's making $40,000. How long would it take a $40,000 earner to stack $100,000 cash?
A lot of goddamn time.
Because you make 40, you ain't taking home 40. And you living at your budget. Most people don't even have the money to put away $500 a month. So how many months would it take to stack $100,000? So she said, well, maybe 50. Still, ladies, look in your checking account right now. And if you feel like you need to have a nest egg or something, why do you ladies feel like you need something in case when it's you walking away from relationships 80% of the time? I'll tell you, because it sounds good. Girl, do for yourself. Don't worry about this. Don't worry about that. Look, I understand the impulse, but you also have to look at who's telling you this, ladies. And there's no reason for me or guys that think like myself to argue that.
All right, that's the context right there. Let's go ahead and dive into it. There are two groups of women, wives and everything else. Go ahead and go to Layla first. What are your thoughts about that? You're on mute, just so you know.
All right. You can hear me now? All right. So my opinion on it is, I mean, I hear what he's saying. One thing I do agree with is this whole concept of waiting until you have a certain bag saved up to decide to marry someone. And you might be halfway through your life or whatever it is, however long, because naturally Black women do make less money, unfortunately, compared to other people in the population. But honestly, like I agree with that point. But as far as like everything else, like that's such a broad term to me. Like I do agree, like if you're a wife, you remain a wife throughout your whole, it doesn't matter if you're at work, it doesn't matter if you're in the store, that loyalty, what you carry yourself as remains the whole way through. If you're a hoe, you're gonna be a hoe when you wake up, when you go out to the store, when you're gonna be a hoe. But I just don't feel like a hoe and just a single woman working should be put in the same category because they're not wives. Does that make sense?
The reason why they're in the same category is because when you have kids, you know, we're talking about a family dynamic. What's a family dynamic if you're not a wife? So that's what makes it different. You can co-parent all you want to. People do it all the time. People get married and divorces and they have to co-parent. But I'm saying, like, we're just talking about just a wife. Let's forget about the negativity part, like you getting a divorce and now you have to split. Wife is a wife to a husband. Some wives have kids. So, you know, we want to just talk about family dynamic. That's how that happens. So everything else just means you're just not in a family, a proper family dynamic. You're just kind of like, you know, doing things on your own. You might have to use the system, you know, get on welfare, you know, do that type of stuff. And instead of being like a wife, you are sharing things. So if you're working, you're splitting bills, splitting everything with your husband, or you're a stay-at-home mom, stay-at-home wife, but you're doing something with somebody else. Like you're
do this.
you're doing it with the person that you are, wanting to be with instead of doing it all by yourself. Kind of like what I think Paris was talking about. Most of the stuff black women in general, they're doing a lot of stuff by themselves and they struggling out here and they don't want to do this. They have no respect, right? The work ethics is trash because they have to worry about, I got to go take care of my kids, run and take them to, their practices by themselves. They're hurting themselves in that way. And if we're just talking about the topic, but wives, they actually have another person to help support them instead of trying to survive.
I get that, but why do we have to, just not to cut anyone off, but why do we have to assume just because you're a wife, you have to have kids?
Well, I said most. So I know I used to watch Kevin Samuels, so I know most of the stuff he was talking about was family. So, that's why I brought that up. But if we want to talk about non-family, then you're women that are not wives, you're out there still by yourself. Women, need men. They're protectors and all these other aspects that men bring to our lives, right? So if you walk around not being a wife, you're just out there by yourself. It's the same thing without a child. You got to do everything by yourself, and you can still struggle the same way without children.
Personally, I don't think it has anything to do with family. I think the reason why he makes the differentiation between wives and the rest, and I think it's one specific thing, and that's intention. So to be a wife, based off of everything Kevin Samuels just said, is that requires intention. That requires full discretion over your behavior. That requires full self-control. But every other category besides a wife doesn't require that same level of attention. You could be a baby mama that doesn't require attention. You could be a hoe that doesn't require attention. You could be a thot that doesn't require attention. All those things are just positions that you can fall into. But the wife position is one in specific that you don't really just fall into. It's like, unless you're preparing from day one to be a wife, you're going to have difficulty stepping into that role. So definitely, I think that's really why he's saying either your wives or your everything else, because being a wife is the only one that requires intention from day one.
I completely agree with Clout Jones. Everyone is not meant to get married. If you can marry, marry. If you can't, don't do it. But I completely agree with Clout Jones. You have to be, I don't know why I'm saying your whole name, but you have to completely be dedicated to the process. You have to be, intentional about it. And it's in your mindset, it's in, your intention and how you approach yourself and approach that man. So I definitely agree with that. It's an intentional thing. So to comment to what's scrolling across the bottom here, there are two groups of women, wives, and everything else. If you're not a wife, you're, like Lady Di said, you're uncovered. And that's just that. If you're not a wife, you're uncovered. You're out here uncovered. So only wives get covered, or only wives are covered. So, I believe that if you're not intentional about wanting to be a wife or being a wife, then you're everything else.
All right.
I think so. I get the question that Layla is asking, right? She's saying, why is it wife or everything else? And I think the way Kevin Samuels was speaking about that, he was speaking from a man's perspective, how men categorize women. He said, either you're a woman he's basically saying either you're the woman we want to marry, or you're all the other things, whether that's the jump off, or the girlfriend, or the baby mama, or the, the night fighter, the sneaky link. So that's basically what he's alluding to, is that either you're the woman he wants to put a ring on it for, or you all other chicks. And that's how, men pretty much categorize. That's how he was categorizing it. Now, of course, men got our different lots where we lot women at. If you want to break it down even further, that we slot y'all. Yeah, but essentially that's basically what he was saying, is that when you look at it on the grand scale of things, and he had a lot of women coming on his show wanting to get married, and he would talk to these women and they would say all these things, he'd tell them straight up, like, okay, you want to get married? Well, in a man's eyes, either you're a wife or you're all the other things. And oftentimes these women describe behavior that puts them in a category of everything else and not a wife.
I feel that was more clear.
Okay. Hey, Paradise, did you want to add to it?
I agree with Sweeney and Cloud. I think being a wife is a mentality, and I previously said it. Like, it's your intentions that you're doing with that man, and then we have to also segregate that being a wife in a mental setting does not mean that you are wife, right? Because a lot of times we are finding ourselves having experiences with men who we are not a wife for. You know, it's inherent for me to be submissive. It is inherent for me to be kind. It is inherent for me to receive direction. I'm going to do that with whatever man that I'm having the experience with. If that does not lead me down the aisle, that means he did not idealize me as a wife. But that does not mean that I did not treat him in my wifely manner, because it was still the intention. I'm going into this giving him everything that I got as a wife would. I'm going into this to show him I am capable of being a wife if he chooses me to do so. But I do think it's intention. I do think it's more so of the sectors, the categories that men put us in. A lot of times women have this idea that they're going to move you up the ladder like the army or the Lord. They don't do that. Once they already see that behavior, you where you are. And maybe you could do some overtime to move up. It's not likely, but that's where it stands, right? Like, a lot of times women are portraying all of these bad behaviors and thinking that, well, I can be a wife, I can just wake up and treat him differently. People typically don't behave like that. He's definitely not going to trust the fact that if he give you a ring, you went from being super detached and, you know, calling him late at night to just being the most caring, nurturing, respectful woman in the world. It don't work like that.
Well, Trev.
Yeah, so I definitely get what he meant. There's a difference between the wife and the boss babe. There's a difference between the wife and the scallywag or the harlot or baby mom, side chick.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Right? And what he normally spoke to, almost always, right, specifically, he spoke to the high value man, right? Because that's what all of his callers called up and we're looking for, right? The quote unquote high value man. And there are certain things that you must possess. There's attributes you must possess, period, right? Because they have options. A lot of men with options. Because there's some dudes that really don't care. And they will make a hoe into a housewife, right? But when you want a man of value, then you have to bring certain things to the table. And like Paris was saying, you have to have intent behind it. You can't just start out, have a hot girl summer, and then another one, and have this dude and that dude, and then all of a sudden become a wife. It's like training, right? It starts, hopefully, you had both your parents. Hopefully, your father taught you some game. Hopefully, your mother showed you how to be a lady. And then you can develop into that when you're grown, because they're going to expect you to be nurturing. They're going to expect you to respect them. They're going to expect you to support them and put them first. And if you can't do that, then you're one of all of the other names I just mentioned besides a wife. And you either in or you ain't, just like Sweeney just said.
Go ahead, Casey.
Okay, so from watching the video, and I definitely feel that women that were raised to be wives have vision for their life, and they have discernment when it comes to what they want their life to look like at an early age, regardless of maturity, career. It's been ingrained in you as a young girl, as a young lady, that this is the type of life you should desire. This is how you should align yourself and what you should be seeking, and how you should be discerning the guys that come into your path. I think that is what he's talking about as far as wives versus everything else, because a woman that wants to be a wife is going to have vision for motherhood, for her family, for her husband. She's going to want to pour into her husband being that rib. She's going to want that at an early age. She's not going to be prioritizing old hot girl summers and the nest egg like he's talking about. Because when you're talking about being a matriarch of your family, you know you need a patriarch, right? And you want the whole 9 yards. And that comes at an early age. It doesn't come at 35 after you making six figures. And now it's time to slow down. And now I got to find my king and do X and Y and Z. It's not going to work like that. That's going to be ingrained in you at 18, at 21. So when that man comes across your path, you're going to have that discernment to know this is somebody that I should pay attention to. My father told me this is the type of man, he has the type of values and morals that I see. You don't have to see a bag yet, but you can have discernment to see that this is the type of man that I should get in line with and get in line beside and behind to build the life that I desire and that's been ingrained in me as a young daughter. That's how I was raised. And that's how I understand him to say, this is the difference between a wife and everything else, because everything else is going to prioritize self, the world, and other things and be distracted left and right and not have their mind on the prize of the long-term goals. Kevin Samuels always talked about women don't think about long-term, right? A lot of Black women don't think long-term. They think selfishly long-term. They don't realize that life is going to change. What's fun right now is not going to be fun in 30 years. You can't go to the club and you're not going to be thinking about summer vacays and girls trips at 65 when your girls have husbands and kids and holidays and things to attend for their families. So I think it's important that that's what I took from the video. Women have a certain mindset. Some women have that mindset to be a wife and have a vision for their life, and they know that starts at an early age, while other women have other things and other distractions going on, and they go down different paths.
All right. Brother Ali, your thoughts about it, sir?
I agree with a lot of what everyone's saying on the surface level, but I wonder if everybody realizes that the default it's the default of nature to love women. That's our default. Like you are born with that grace of everyone loves you before you do anything else, whether you're a young baby girl, whether you're a mother, whether you're a wife. As long as you do nothing to tamper with your quality of a human being, everybody's born to love you. Men have to earn love, like conditionally. Like we get conditional love. Y'all are loved unconditionally. And it's funny to me, the sound of your voice, your looks, the way you smell, your presence when you walk into a room, when we see you, how you affect everybody. You affect the whole atmosphere environment. How you have to acknowledge if people are going away from you, there's something that you're doing that's not keeping everyone with you. When we're biologically made to come to you, how can you put yourself in such a position where you push everybody away from you when we're made to come to you? So when it says wives, are you either a wife or any other woman? I believe Precious you asked that. What are you doing outside of being the wife that brings everybody together? And I know we're old enough to see those type of women, right? You'll see mothers who poured into a man, poured into a family, and everybody wraps around her, including the community that sees this mother with this family. They see her as the epitome of the matriarch of the community. The women who solely focus on themselves, when everybody already focuses on themselves, everybody leaves them. And it gets worse in older age. And those older women are begging for someone to be there for them, but they weren't there for anybody else but themselves. They use the baby as a facade. They use the ring as a facade. They use the marriage as a facade. They use all of it as a badge of honor without actually working for a man, and without actually working for the baby, and without actually working for a family, and without actually acknowledging that anything else you do outside of investing into the community, you deviate away from yourself. Anything else you invest in pushes everyone away from you instead of you being the focal point. And men can talk their egos all they want to. They putting their careers first. They putting their money first. They putting their cars first. They putting their house first. That purpose stuff. Everybody nature on this earth is for the woman. It's for the woman. It's woman at the epitome of her grace and her purpose in this world. Everybody is here for y'all. And if anybody else says different, it's the condition and the program of what's happened to society. If anybody else is living for everything else, it's either because of the programming and conditioning, or it's because the way the programming condition has pushed our women away from us and the family. So that's what I want to ask. What same thing as Precious said, but also what Brother Ricky has said on these panels before. Our women are the only ones not selling when we're buying. We want you more than anything. We want you. And you're here for our pleasure. And I don't mean in a negative way. You're either my wife that pleasures me and my babies, and is the greatest thing I could come across and cling to, or you're going to be another type of pleasure. But you pick that. So honestly, I'm still coming here with the thing that you do. You should do what you want to do, right? You're going to do what you want to do. You 50-50 equal. And I ain't talking about a lot of the ladies on the panel. I know what y'all talking about. But as a whole, if this is what women are pushing for and what they want, then we have to allow them to do that. If this is what they picked and they can't acknowledge how powerful and how valuable they are to us, then there's nothing we can do to control that, but allow them to go through this course, through the direction they're going through, and let everything just fall where it's supposed to fall. But I believe if we allow them to do what they want to do, I think they'll eventually come back and acknowledge how powerful and wonderful they are.
Okay. Has everybody spoke on this? Go ahead, Sweeney.
I'm curious. What do y'all want us to say?
Sweeney needs a forehead in the palm emoji. Like he's always like that.
Sweeney t-shirt with
with the
we kind of be like a Bob Marley
with the lock in the cap,
because it's not our fight. It's not our fight. That's not our fight.
What do y'all want us to say? What do y'all want us to say? I get it. Y'all are tired of the same talking points. Y'all tired of us saying the same shit. But
you saw the chat.
Yes, but because the reason why we keep saying the same shit is because y'all got the same fucking questions. God damn. Y'all ask us the same shit over and over again. Why don't men want to get married? Why ain't men choosing this? Why aren't men getting their shit together? Why aren't women getting their shit together? What are we going to do? How are we going to get this done? What do y'all want us to say? Do y'all want us to just say, you know what? Men ain't shit. That's the reason why. We ain't doing our job on one end, and we just not out here doing what it's supposed to do. And we the reason why y'all don't like us, and we the reason why y'all hate us, and we the reason why y'all don't want to deal with us, and we the reason why. Which one came first, the chicken or the fucking egg? Does it matter? We're here where we are today. What do y'all want to be? What do y'all want to be done? What do y'all want? What do you want?
I will say this, although he has been in character all night of being facetious, Ali was absolutely correct. He did a very great job, but he was absolutely correct. At the basis of this, and I've said this once before, even though it affects me, Black men should absolutely stop fighting for their right to impose on us things that we don't want if the behavior is not beneficial to the men, the children, and the women. They should stop absolutely fighting for their right to. Because just because you want us, we're not giving you the same type of admiration and attention back in return. We're not giving you the same type of appreciation back in return. And these other fallacies of, oh, well, men do it too, et cetera, et cetera. It has always been more beneficial for us to draw to our men as opposed to away from them. And even today, I was reading something where a counterpart of mine said, hey, we're a reflection of the men, but she was only speaking in a degenerate manner. And I countered that and said, Black women today have intentionally separated themselves from Black men. We don't call ourselves theirs. We don't say that we are in a camaraderie with them at all. We don't ally with them at all. And you've seen it on several different accounts. We've seen Fox News where, you know, you got Lisa Ray and Claudia Jordan, they all hammering on Ice Cube saying, well, what about Black women? That is always the ideal. What about us over them? Why are we prioritizing the men over them? I honestly feel like the men have to stop champion trying to be things that we don't want. Leave us alone. We're asking you to leave us alone. Leave us alone. Let the chips fall where they may. If the matriarch is what we're going to do and we're going to function in it, like Lady Di said earlier, Precious said earlier, we're going to run the race. We're going to continue to have these babies with y'all, and we're going to be by ourselves. And if you a good man who will take care of your kids and you going to help, great. I got one of the good ones. If not, I ain't the first baby mama who'd have been left with a deadbeat. Let the chips fall where they may.
Give them the ball. Give them the ball. Give them the ball. Let them take the shots, layups, dunks, And if they miss it, hey, we ain't Kobe. We ain't coming to save you. You said you Kobe, be Kobe. You Michael Jordan, be Michael Jordan. You the GOAT, be the GOAT.
Perfect, Kobe.
Because I'm starting to realize, like, most of these, they really, like, y'all really don't want relationships. Y'all really don't. All y'all really want, and I'm going to be real with you. All y'all really want is for us to confirm your bias. That's what you really want from us. You want us to come up here so we can confirm how you feel and the way you feel about in the way you feel about the world. Because no matter how many times we say the right thing or the wrong thing, when somebody says something you love, you, oh yeah, that's 100, fire emoji all over the damn place. But the moment we say something you don't like, then all of a sudden we bullshit and the stats don't matter. And why are you always saying that? And why we keep having the same conversation? You just want us to confirm how you feel about the world. And that's cool. We can do that. It gets the super chat going. And we're gonna keep sitting there having the same conversation, and it yields no results. Because at the end of the day, y'all are still upset, y'all are still lonely, y'all are still mad.
Can I tell y'all a story? So, just real quick, I've lived in 5 different states, right? Repping home tonight. The way I was raised, you walk in a room. My grandmother always say, "Did I sleep with you last night?" Right? So I was raised to, when I walk in a room, I acknowledge people. I speak to people. I was told to give people eye contact. I was always told to acknowledge a Black man, a Black woman in my space. If they come into my space, you acknowledge them. Those are your people. That is your community, right? I was at the gym not too long ago, and I have 3 brothers and my father. So I speak, like I said, I speak to Black people when they're in my space. You come in my space, you 6 feet away from me, I can speak to you, I will speak to you. I had somebody with me say, I spoke to this person, to this man, and he speaking to people in the gym, people that were in the gym the couple days before, because that's your community. The person with me said, why was that person so nice? Because they came back around as they were leaving the gym, they said, "Hey, have a nice day." Black women are surprised at Black men. First of all, the Black man was surprised to be acknowledged by me, that's the number 1 problem. Number 2, Black women are very unapproachable, right? They have this, "Don't bother me, I'm too busy. Why are you talking to me? What do you want?" type of attitude, type of aura. And that is a problem with our women. We want Black men to break down these walls of, "Oh, well, you didn't try hard enough." We're not approachable, and we could be kinder and nicer. And that's why our Black men go to other races and go to other women, because they have the spirit of a wife, the spirit of approachability, the spirit of community, which you would want that type of woman, like Ali was saying. You want a woman who has the feeling of community, the feeling of respect in her community, respect for her environment, respect for people who come in her space. And we're not exhibiting that as a group. We're not exhibiting that. That is a problem, and it happens every day. And you hear it on other podcasts about Black women being unapproachable, and they act like they don't want to be bothered. But then, like Sweeney said, they come back around and say, "Why can't I find a good man? Why can I do this? Why am I not married? Why is this?" We have to look in the mirror as a group.
Are we still here? Is everybody still here?
I think that was great.
That was good, Casey.
The topic.
We were letting you go.
Just let it marinate.
Yeah, you gotta let it sit for a second, man. That's the problem. Everybody always listening to respond, and that didn't happen. So we just let it marinate a little bit longer. That was epic right there.
Yeah,
No,
she ate that for sure.
Yeah.
Couldn't say nothing.
Nope.
It's sad, for real. And the first thing about it is my husband is the exact same way. My husband is a man of community. He demands respect when he walks in the room. He speaks to Black women and Black men. He's not trying to holler at a woman, or he's not trying to be disrespectful or disregarding another Black man. That's how both of us was raised. If you don't acknowledge your own community, what are you teaching your child? You know what I'm saying? Like what do you? That's how networking happens. That's how we bridge entrepreneurship and bridge businesses. And it's about that spirit. Sometimes you don't even have to open your mouth. You don't have to have a whole conversation with a person, but the acknowledgement of another person in your space, giving them eye contact, that is respect. That is something that our community is lacking, because we're all about self, what we got going on, and we think we don't need nobody else, whether it's another man or another, a business proposition or opportunity. Having a spirit of open hands and open heart, I promise you more will come to you if you have a spirit this way. When I wake up in the morning, I have this spirit about me, right? Without me opening my mouth, you have a spirit of giving and receiving. If you like this, ain't nothing coming to you. There's nothing coming your way but bad, evil, despair, hatred. Nothing good is gonna come your way. But if you have an open heart, an open spirit, an open personality, an open aura about you, where you're like this, you're ready to help, you're willing to love, give people time. If someone needs an extra word on their day, you also have your head on a swivel, and you have discernment about people that come in contact with you throughout your day, whether it may be at work or your own family, right? But if you closed off in your own world, there's no way you can receive anything good or help someone that might need your good.
Can I say something to what she said? This energy is very rare to be around. And I don't know if y'all, I know y'all know, but she sounds like a mother. You know what I'm saying? Like, I remember my aunt, the men in my family when I was growing up didn't talk that much. They didn't have to. If you got past mama talking like this, it's already over for you. You're going to get thrown out a window, whatever. Your life is gone. And the women might take your life before you get to the men. But women, and I say this over and over again, men are order. If they're not in order, obviously they're in disorder. The women loving is loving order. If they're not loving order, they're manipulating order. And if all of us go into disorder, we ultimately become children. But the fact that you speaking that way you speaking, it really reminds me of when I used to walk through the house and my grandma say something, my auntie say something, my mama say something, and you better not don't make me tell your father. Okay, like the mothers did this. The mothers sustained the order. The fathers were the order, and the mothers kept everything in line. And if something went out of line, oh, that's what you're doing today? Mm-hmm. Wait till your daddy come home. What? Oh, hold on. Nah, just wait till your daddy come home. Mm-hmm. And you did everything you were supposed to do and still knew you was going to get a whooping when you come home, because you disrespected your father's wife. You disrespected the core of what the foundation of that family is. You disrespected his wife. And that's how the world should be. And that's how the world should be. And that's why Black women supposed to be protected, is you disrespecting someone's wife. You disrespecting someone who's covered. You disrespecting the core of the family. The core of all of us is the woman, is an actual woman who's moving and operating in love, which is order. It's sustaining order.
Casey, you called it when you said that your peoples told you that that's supposed to be the way that you behave, right? And I think that's the main component that's missing today. Our parenting is just different, right? I said it before, but I'm in a position to see what a lot of households are like, and I can tell you the TV raises the children, the phone raises the children, everything but the parents or parent. In most of our cases, unfortunately, right? One parent raised the children. So we don't have the foundation to even know how to behave like that. And then besides that, we're dealing with many traumas as children. And then it's just not a habit. You don't even know how to interact with people. So it's very difficult for us to just turn that light on and say, you know what? All right, let me speak to this person today. Because it's habit. You become introverted and you don't know how to even behave around people, or you just have you develop xenophobia. You think that everyone's trying to hurt you or trying to get something out of you. What are you bothering me for? I know, me personally, I'm from Newark, New Jersey, where it's pretty much like New York. We got pretty much a New York flavor. 20 minutes and you in New York, right? So if we used to say what's up to people, they would get pissed off. I know you. Like, that's just what it was. It was that deep. It was that deep. I know you. Like, who you, son? Like, that's what it's like. So it's so weird because we don't teach our children. That's what we really have to do. We have to spend more time with our children, and we don't go over principles. Like, this is what you're supposed to do. Like, how many times you hear your parents told you over and over, like, no, you better not act like that. You know what you're supposed to be doing. They don't do that anymore. Just don't. They just let it happen. Whatever, whether it be the TV, whether it be the phone, they're not getting that foundation that they need. They're not getting people to tell them, listen, this is what you're supposed to be doing. And it's horrible. But that's where it starts. We're going to have to do better as parents. If I see something going on, if it's parents that I know, and I would never, ever undermine a parent in front of their child. However, if I see something that ain't fly, I'll pull them to the side after the fact and be like, yo, check this out. How about you try this? Or you know why they're doing like that? It's because of this. And we don't do that.
So
shout out to up north.
True.
So I'm sure we about to trail over into after hours a little bit. I know.
Messing with Sweeney.
Not tonight.
I want to answer a question, and I swear this is coming from love. This is coming from love. I swear it is. So earlier I asked, what do y'all want? What do y'all want from us? Right? And the lady responded. She said, for a year, it's been complaints about Black women. And in defense of it, women did do it for years, but okay. How about a combined conversation instead of tit for tat? And I'm with you. I swear to God, I'm with you. Here's the reason why we can't get to that point. Because, and I bullshit you not, because we've been speaking for only a year, and our women, by and large, have not acknowledged it yet. All we've been getting on these panels, Kevin Samuels, Lapeef Let's Talk, all the men on these panels, all we've been getting is pushback and buts. What about? It has not been acknowledged. The issues that Black men have with our women have not been acknowledged yet. And the moment you acknowledge it and you say, okay, brother, I see what you're going through and I see the pain that we may have caused you. And when you actually ask that question, who hurt you, you're actually ready for the answer. We will never get to the point where we can just have a balanced conversation. So I beg y'all, if you truly want us to have a balanced conversation, at least acknowledge our pain. Acknowledge that the fact that we have been hurt by our women. Acknowledge the fact that we have been taken to the clinic. Yeah, I know you, Perry, but I'm just talking about people in general. Like, what we've been seeing in general has not been an acceptance of the problems that we have. So, and that's pretty much, if we can get there, then we can have a balanced conversation. Other than that, if we can't get there, it will always be, we sitting here mad at Black women mad at us, and you got two separate panels, Black women complaining on TikTok, Black men complaining on YouTube. And then we'll never have a full-blown conversation with one another. We have to acknowledge each other's pain. And until that happens, there is no conversation. That's why these conversations we keep getting asked the same questions over and over again. They asked again, why aren't men deciding not to get married? The men told you why they don't want to get married. We done been telling y'all for a year and a half straight why we don't want to get married. You still confused? It's because you don't acknowledge the fact that what we're saying, you hear what you want to hear, and you take what you want to take from them. You say, and then you come up, then you go to your side of the internet, and you tell women this is why the men don't want to get married, and it's completely opposite of what we just told you when you was in this space. Hear what we saying, take it in, acknowledge it, feel for us, and we'll feel for you. But until that happens, it's going to always be tit for tat. It's going to always be a look. And as a matter of fact, it's getting to the point where, and I know Ali was being facetious, but part of that was because of some shit that I actually told him last week. Until then, he's right. We're just going to accept the fact that that's what y'all going to do, and we're going to let the chips fall where they fall. If that means we're apart, if that means our kids are apart and they don't give a fuck about each other, then it is what it is. If that means that y'all are apart and ain't nobody there to wipe your ass when you old and you can't do it yourself, it is what it is. That means your kid ain't got a father, it is what it is. Because
what kind of nation makes you fight for your kid?
Right.
What kind of nation do we live in that makes you fight for your child?
Right.
And if you go away, oh, he's a deadbeat. He walked away from this. He's fine. He has to, like, there's nothing where our women get together and go, hold on. We didn't even have a baby till I connected with him. So something that came from him traveled through my body and came out. That it has to be like it's a lot of his kid, ain't it? He shot something into you, his DNA, and then you said, nope, my body, my choice. And then he said, damn, okay, I'll be responsible. Nah, that's my baby. You got to do exactly what I want, how I want for this baby.
Ali, you want to know the most jacked up part? You want to know the most jacked up part? Oh, go ahead, Paris.
I'm sorry. One other thing that we have to integrate into this is the punishing idea. A lot of times we using each other as weapons and catalysts for get back. When I talked about the Halle Berry thing today, it was so many men who were like, that's what she get. Good for her. Or when we mentioned the Keke Palmer situation or the Megan Thee Stallion situation, there's so many women that are championing, oh, he needs to be locked up. Good for him. And that'll teach these men, and maybe he'll learn that in his life. When we're having these conversations, we're doing more demonizing to uphold double standards that we do not align with. We know it's wrong, but we're doing more demonizing in order to prove a point. And other people are being used as weapons. We're not just using the children no more. We're using other people in their situations as a weapon to demonstrate our hurt. And that's the part of the healing that Layla was mentioning earlier that I think needs to be addressed. We talk about all this healing and trying to be a better person when you move on, but a lot of this stuff is being transmitted in the most negative way. Even when you see the Facebook statuses that constantly go viral, regardless, every 6 months about if a man start playing with me, I'm gonna show him I act just like my daddy. What the fuck does that mean? Why are we so conditioned to using our sex as a way of getting back at men to hurt them, and then trying to acknowledge the fact that we honor sexual liberation? It don't work like that. Inadvertently, oh my gosh, you're basically saying I wouldn't have been disloyal with my body had something else been happening, but because my feelings are hurt, let me be disloyal to my body. Let me be disloyal and show him I'm gonna do something that he probably could have predicted anyways. And it don't make sense. And when I hear these men have these conversations about the women and the children, oh, she constantly having babies by these other type of men, and that's not my responsibility. Okay, great, kudos. But the answer is not for you to take your fucking passport and leave the other women who are still here, still trying to support you, still trying to be your wife without children. Where do you leave us? We still want to learn. We still want to be here. We still want to be protected. We still want to champion for Black men. You can't just abandon because of the other women who probably were on your radar are already sour. So we got to stop demonizing each other. A lot of this conversation comes at the basis of us trying to use other people's pain as a catalyst for get back for people who not even fucked about us no more.
That was a fact.
There's so many people when I hear them talk about things that, and this is just talking to women. Again, I work next to my wife, so I hear a lot of women conversations. And I would hear them say, man, you know these men, they're going to just do this, do that. And I would ask them, has that happened to you? No, it ain't happened to me. Then why are you taking on somebody else's pain? It didn't even happen to you. Why are you taking on that pain? You talk about what you're going to do if it happens to you, if such and such and you married. Why are you taking on that other person's pain? And most of the time, it's 2 generations removed. It's not your pain to take on. And I ain't gonna lie to you, we as fellas, we do it too. We take on the pain of our grandfathers as well. But that's our grandfathers. That's not us. We don't live in that time. None of us live in that time. So why are we carrying their pain? Okay, it happened to them. Why does it have to happen to us? Why can't we learn from their mistakes? We talk about, you know what I mean, just talking to the fellas right now. We talk about how our grandfathers worked themselves into the dirt, damn near died on the job. And we said, man, look, man, we can't do that no more. So we found a way to make it easier on ourselves. Why are we still internalizing their pain? Why can't we why we live in the easiest fucking society that we've ever seen? Yeah, inflation has been kicking our ass a little bit. That's only been since COVID. What about the 15, 20 years before that? We still upset about the same shit as if we the same people. Even with inflation, our lives are easier now than they've ever been. Me and my wife was talking the other day. Me and my wife was talking this morning on our walk, right? And she talked about how our grandmothers used to have to sew clothes out of burlap sacks, hand by hand. How they used to have to go out there and wash dishes in the sink and have to go out there and dry the clothes on clotheslines and shit. We don't live the same hard life. It's easy as fuck for us right now, but yet we still arguing about the same shit.
I don't think a lot of women know how to use a needle and thread. Did your mama teach you that?
Most of us work 8 to 10 hours a day. Life ain't that fucking hard for us to be fighting about this shit. We can't get together and work shit out.
Nope, they know how to put them tracks in their head, but they don't know how to put a button on.
You kind of have to want to.
I feel like that's the problem.
I feel like we live in a society, it keeps us divided. Social media, the overall government agenda to keep us divided. Anything we build, they destroy it. And then when we do get along, then it's like they don't show as much. They don't show as much peace and get along as they do.
Everybody feel like y'all. We got to start bringing it to a close.
The government ain't got nothing to do with the way we talk to each other.
Name me the positive. Name me the when she just said. Name me all the positive images that they give to black people. Like what do you see when you step out your house, when you when you listen to the radio? No, hold on, sweetie.
No, I get
because I was in the school system with little kids that become adults. The adults, these little kids who had their mom and daddies going through the same thing. What is the images that are given to black people outside of the culture that some of us we are remnants of what's left. That's why I keep trying to tell you, Sweeney. I think sometimes you know how big the problem is. Sometimes I think a little. You're a very educated brother. I talking about about this. You're right about a lot of things. So is Sweeney. But I don't think y'all understanding this. The remnants of the last bit of culture we have of black society. When this is gone, it's going to look like just like what you see on the radio, what you hear in the radio, or you're going to be part of the corporate world just about money. That's why people don't want to have kids. That's why people believe it's too expensive to have kids. The best thing that we can create is a baby. That's the best thing you can create is other children, is creating the children in the family. That's not how people feel. And that's because how they're conditioned. I believe it's how our minds are being conditioned. If we know what our purpose is, if we're in school system, it teaches you, you're sitting there. What is a woman? The greatest thing in the world. What is a man to you? The greatest thing in the world. That's your purpose. That's your purpose. That's not taught in schools. Gender roles aren't taught in schools for a specific reason. I could sit in a school, when I sit in the classroom, I could tell the boy, he can be non-binary. I could tell the girl she could be non-binary and engage in that behavior, but I can't tell the little girl to be a woman, and I can't tell the boy to be a man in school. So you can't say that when you're sitting in the school system, when you listen to the radio, when you're watching TV, and then there's other layers of things that's happening in that, where there's things being shot to your kids, being shot to us, and you don't even realize the frequency the music is on to make you think a particular way. You don't have a place a trick on yourself. You put on Boys II Men, and you're like, dang. You put on some love music, and then put on something negative and see how it makes you feel. Have any of y'all ever done that to yourself? Like you could see the difference of just putting a song on.
Yeah, the vibration.
You can literally.
I'm familiar with the frequencies.
You can go through. You can have tears if you listen to something old that you ain't, some nostalgic music that you ain't heard in a while. When you hear it, it reminds you of a certain time. It reminds you of a certain place in life. When you listen to certain music now, it's just disgusting. It makes you feel just like the music. So we do have to really acknowledge what we listening to. What we put in our body, what we put in our heart, and what we put into our body food wise, it is messing with us.
Ali, and I'm not in disagreement
with
you.
We got to bring it to a close.
You want me to stop or?
Last point, Swing, and then we'll bring it. And nobody else.
When he scored 80 points.
And I'm not in disagreement with you. I do think that I agree to a certain degree. When I said the government ain't got nothing to do with this, the government can't tell you something about the thing that you live. And if I see black people every day, how does the government influence how I feel about black people if I live black people every day? They can't come in and tell me black people ain't shit if I'm looking around me and seeing that black people ain't shit. But here's the problem though, and this is where what you just said comes into play. We separated ourselves from people. When you no longer deal with black folks, of course, the only thing that'll ever teach you about black folks is the things that you watch. But if you go outside and you experience your people, there ain't shit that the government can tell you about your people because you live them. But that's the crux of the problem that we have right now. That's why we like, I think it's a perpetuating system. We separated ourselves from one another. Now we have somebody on the outside telling us who we are. And now we're here.
Hold that thought. I just want to, I can end the stream. You can talk about it in the back chat. I just want to make sure I get the people out of here that needs to leave. Respectful time. Only got a few of these, but original, everything else. Carbon copy, $2 says that's the most I've seen. Paris smile. Original, everything else. Carbon copy, $2 says like to see Ali on here and not so angry tonight. I ain't going nowhere. $5 says Layla got them. Layla in per usual. Clout with the Bruce Leroy headband. My guy Ali is let go. Repellent. Sweeney, what you charge for that Caesar?
$30 at starting.
Okay. I ain't going nowhere. $5. Trev and Clout start off like Precious. Start off like Sweeney. Start off like J.I. be like. Let's just have a conversation. Love y'all. Congo Wingers, $10. Ali and Sweeney, thank you for the dialogue. Much appreciated. I ain't going nowhere. $5 says, hey, Precious. Sweeney got 73. Yo, fed up. Grandpa energy tonight. He better not catch y'all walking on this lawn. Lady die. Don't think you leaving without a love tap. I got some fans out here. Vernell Jackson 499. We will never reach a resolution when every time we express what we need, the response is always, well, what about y'all? Insane. And lastly, Caesar's Palace, $10. Also members. Black women divorce black men twice as much as all other races of women. Even when black men marry black women, they leave. It's not black man's fault. Black women don't want to understand marriage and sacrifice. I want to thank everybody for contributing to the platform tonight. I also want to thank the panel for their perspectives. Let's make sure we support each other, right? Sticking together. I've seen a lot of flowers being given tonight. That's always a blessing to see. Make sure y'all follow Sweeney. He go live on Sundays. Precious is live on, is it Mondays, right?
Mondays, I have the men's panel, yeah.
Mondays. Lady Di, she's on Instagram. They go live every day, it seemed like. I always get the notifications. Trev Smoothie, I'll make sure y'all check out his content. Layla, she's in the clouds. Ali.
He's going live every day now. He's gonna go live after this, at the party. I'll drop the link in the chat. I'm gonna start going live every day.
Okay, there you go. Casey, she's being a wife and a mother, but she also drops in them gems. You got anything?
Y'all follow me. I am KCB. All things fitness, motherhood, marriage, all of that.
You know, Cloud Jones is doing his music, man. You can catch him. He's traveling all over the place. Every time I hit him, he say, man, I'm gonna be on the road. So he's doing some big things in Paris. I mean, he just seems to be everywhere. He always has these controversial viral moments. So y'all make sure y'all check it out. Want to thank everybody, man. It's all love here. Hit the like button. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Again, shout out to the sponsor, Teach Hanley. Catch us every Thursday. This is the greatest show ever, the greatest network ever, the Lapeef Network, and we out. I meant to say one more thing too. One more thing. Trigger Mike is going live tomorrow at 12 p.m. Central Time. Do Women Like Sex? Trigger Mike is going live tomorrow, so y'all make sure y'all check out Trigger Mike tomorrow. I see y'all saying great show. I'm glad y'all enjoyed it. Just do me one favor, hit that like button if you haven't already. Shout out to all my green gang. I see you. Y'all catch Trigger Mike tomorrow at 12 p.m. Drop the link for y'all right now. Just want to say thank you guys on the behalf of the Lapeef Network. Hit that like button. Also make sure you subscribe to the channel. Let's make sure we support all the channel members. Make sure y'all give them a follow. Check out their content. Without you guys' support, we would not be where we are today. Mr. BX, I see you. Angela Swift. Thank you guys. Till next time.